Yes, the crime scene whisperer was back on the stand today, and Jackson just smoked Trooper Paul today. And that's what we're going to get into here. So how's everybody doing? Welcome back to Let's Talk Live here on LTL Media. It's nice to see everybody in here tonight. I had to work today, so I didn't get to watch all of the testimony, but I skimmed through most of it on my break today. I'm going to be honest with you. I think I was more focused on Trooper Paul than the Celebrite expert. And then we had Officer or Trooper Grano at the end talking about text messages between John and Karen. I'll be honest with you. I didn't really see any smoking guns there. I thought they were going to pull something up where Karen was like, I'm going to kill you, or I want to kill you, or something. I mean, to me, when I looked through those text messages, it just seemed like a normal couple that was fighting and having disagreements and looking like they possibly were going to end their relationship. So I didn't see much there, but I think probably for me today, the most compelling testimony was Trooper Paul. So what we're going to do is go through that this evening. It was disaster. It was so disastrous for that guy. Oh, and then we had, what was it? Grano whispered under his breath on the hot mic, like, kill me or fucking kill me or something. I was like, what is going on in this trial? Like, what is going on? So I just think that this is all compounding on all of the people, and I've said this in the last couple of streams that I've had. I think Tully, Proctor, Bukaki, they were the major players in framing all this, along with Jennifer McCabe setting the tone. And I think they just grabbed all these other people and said, this is what you're going to say, this is what you're going to do, and you're going to do it. And I think you clearly saw that today with Trooper Paul. I mean, he was nervous. I mean, just like pulling his collar, touching his face, eyes all over the place. It was insane. It was insane. But we're going to get into it. And how the way I want to start it is we'll start with the voir dire from the other day, and then we'll go into this testimony, and we'll play it out and see how it plays out tonight. But as customary, my streams, what we do is total 25% of the total donation at the end of the stream. We will kick that back to Karen Reed's Defense Fund because she needs us more than anything right now. And it's kind of been a common theme since trial started that I've been doing this. So again, any donation that comes in, we'll take 25% of that total and then kick that off to Karen Reed. And I like to at least get to at least $50 for Karen, so we can post that up. And if we don't reach that goal tonight, we'll just carry that over into the next stream. But it's like I said, it's very nice to see everybody here. I can't wait to go through this. I only got to skim through about a half an hour of the Paul testimony early this morning, and then on my break I went back at work and I went over it today. So pretty crazy stuff. But I saw some super duper chats come in, so we'll kick this off. I don't know if any of my moderators are in the room. My girlfriend is actually on vacation right now, so she's not going to be able to keep the running total. But if someone or possibly one of my moderators can keep a running total of the donations, that'd be great. So we'll kick this off with a $3 super sticker. Rosemarie J has become a new member, so we'll just round that up to a $5 membership. So we have $8 right now back towards Karen Reed. And thank you for becoming a member. You get access to all the members stuff on the front of the page, so you can scroll down and go through that. Let's see. Grant's Pants. Let's see. The prosecution called the LTL Brian impersonator. Yeah, everybody kept saying I look like the Celebrite expert. And the guy's up there honing off his own software. He's like, buy my size. Like, that's essentially a commercial for his software. But I'm still going to believe in the defense's witness testimony when it gets to Celebrite. And you know, I was very confused. Did it actually did it happen? Are they saying that the tab was just posted, but she never actually searched? So again, it's something that I have to go through with a fine-tooth comb and go over it. And then possibly we'll go over it here on another night. Let's see. Peggy. Wow. Big, huge super chat coming in. Wow. Big, huge super chat. Peggy, thank you so much. A $200 super chat. Super sticker just came in. Wow. That's very kind to you. Thank you. And we will add that to the total that we have so far. So we had I'm sorry, I missed it already. You had 5, 6, 7, and then another 3 was 10. So we have 210 already kicking off the show. Wow. Big super sticker. Thank you, Peggy. I really do appreciate that. I know Karen will appreciate that 25% being kicked back to her. Okay, so let's get into Trooper Paul. Let me just write this down. I don't see any of my moderators here, but that's okay. Let's see. We're at 210, and let's see. Joe Paul was training a rookie. Let that sink in. Yes, yeah. I agree. So we got 212 so far. And all right, let's get this going. Let's go to the voir dire because I think that's the best way to kick this off and see how things kind of rolled into today. All right, here we go. Thank you again so much. Very, very nice.
All right, Mr. Lally.
Now, Trooper Paul, as I was asking.
Real quick, before I get into this, last night, and I apologize because I think I saw her name in the chat. Heather Licious, you asked me last night in a super chat. Thank you. And what I'm going to do is answer your question. You asked me about how, because you kind of just come back around to the channel, from my understanding. You asked me how the jury reacted the other day when I was in the room. And essentially, real quick, what I can kind of take out of it is that when Lally spoke, they were tuned out. When Jackson, which was great, I was there the day that Jackson was crossing, they were very in tune, locked in, taking lots of notes. And I'm going to do this too. Thank you, Love Little. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. If you could keep the running total, that'd be great. I'm going to drop a link. I would say, Heather, check out this link after the show. And actually, everybody that was on my panel during that live has been inside the courtroom. So you'll get all of our perspectives there. And I think I saw some Cash Apps and PayPals come through. Let's see. Daniel, thanks so much for the $5 PayPal. So we'll add that. And Christine, thank you so much for the $5 on Cash App. Thank you. So if we can add another $10 to that running total. All right, let's get to the voir dire.
With respect to, have you had occasion to see a ring video from Mr. O'Keefe's house on One Meadows Avenue?
And this is insane.
Depicting the defendant or the defendant's vehicle backing out of a garage while snow was falling.
Yes.
Now, in addition to that, as you've already testified to, you made observations of the defendant's vehicle.
Listen, I absolutely adore Melanie Little. Her and I started a friendship quite a few months back. I had the opportunity, really the first one, to bring her here on LTL. I've always had a lot of fun. I think she's done 2 streams with me so far. She's an absolute complete. Ooh, did you hear that? Complete sweetheart off stream. I've had many phone conversations with her. Super intelligent attorney, gives great advice, great opinions, and just a great friend overall. And it was so great to finally meet her the other day and share a moment and kind of hang out in front of the courthouse. So I hope I have the opportunity to meet her again in person. And it was really great. Let's see this. Britta, thank you so much. I forgot to pull this up. She says, screw physics. I love this. This is like something that happened on the stream last night. Screw physics, Professor Trooper Paul. That was great. Nancy, thank you so much for the 1999er. Yes, screw physics. I love that. And Donna, thank you so much for the $2 super sticker. All right, let's get to let's get to the Trooper Paul voir dire. Here we go.
In the Canton Police Department garage on February 1st. Is that correct?
Yes.
And Your Honor, with court's permission, may we play the video at this time?
Yes.
Well, this is the guy. I do kind of feel bad for him in a sense. It was funny. I texted my girlfriend today and we were talking, and I said, I kind of feel bad for this poor bastard because this is the guy that they brought in 8 weeks into trial. But you know what? I don't feel bad in a certain way because he knows he's up there lying for the Commonwealth. He knows that he has to hold this together. And this guy skated around so much today. So many of the questions today from Alan Jackson, like, who told you about the information at the crime scene? And he goes, the crime scene. I'm like, wait a minute, the front lawn was talking to you? And that's why I said the crime scene whisperer. So he's out there and he's just whispering. The lawn is whispering to him and he's listening. And Jax is like, just like, who told you, dude? Who told you the information to start your investigation? Like, who was it? And he says, well, it was the information from the crime scene. Yes, but who's the physical person, sir? Like, answer the question. It's insane. It's absolutely insane. And I couldn't even believe it. I'm like, it was just so frustrating. I'm like, just who told you? Who told you? Jillian, thank you so much for the 25. And she says, thank you, Brian, for all you're doing to help Karen. We stand with Karen in Texas. #FreeKarenReed. Thank you so much. Okay, let's keep going here.
Stipulate to the video.
I want to see it for purposes of this voir dire. And in fact, I'd like to see the version that
Thank you, Shelby.
the
Thank you.
defendants have with the focusing in on the tire.
Understood.
Oh, this is crazy. He's gonna say a tire move. Come on, dude. Stevie Wonder could see that tire move.
Both. Go ahead, Miss Gilman. You show yours, and then I'm going to ask the defense.
153. Now, Trooper, from your observations from this video, at some point, this vehicle either comes close or makes contact with Mr. O'Keefe's vehicle. Is that correct?
Yes.
Now, in addition to your observations of this video and your observations of the defendant's vehicle, at some point, have you also seen photographs of Mr. O'Keefe's vehicle?
Yes.
And is your understanding that those photographs of Mr. O'Keefe's vehicle were taken by State Police Crime Scene Services on February 3rd? Is that correct?
Yes.
Now, with reference to your observations in this vehicle, what I'm going to ask you is in regard to the significance significance of the impact of the two vehicles. In respect to Mr. O'Keefe's vehicle, what, if anything, did you observe on his vehicle at that time?
The photos are now.
Right now.
Oh, right now. There was snow on the vehicle.
And then with respect to the contact between the defendant's vehicle and victim Mr. O'Keefe's vehicle, what, if anything, did you observe to occur with relation to the snow based on the significance of the impact between the two?
The snow doesn't move.
And Ms. Gilman, if you could press play this.
The snow doesn't move. You got to be shit. You can see it right there. It's from that angle that the car moved.
All right. Can I see the other video? Please.
Oh, yeah. Gladly. Gladly.
Yes, I think it's on.
Cash app from Donna.
I know it's in
Thank
evidence,
you
but I
so
think it's on
much.
your computer, your hard drive.
We'll add that to the total. Yeah, the car totally moved. And this is going to show it right here. And he goes, oh, no, didn't move. How can you not say that didn't move? And then, yeah, did it move? No, it didn't move.
Right.
Yes,
Thank you.
Toronto.
Okay, could you turn the lights on, please?
Your Honor, if I could, there's just two photographs, and I'd like to just for
Sure.
these purposes. Ms. Gilman, if I could have what's now been marked as Exhibit 549.
And before you do that, what is the exhibit we just saw through your IT person? What
Your Honor,
number?
it's the same exhibit. It has not been enhanced in any way. It's just magnified for purposes of this showing. In other words, the magnification is not embedded in the video. It's the
Okay.
Same video.
Okay.
We just magnified it.
Okay.
Here you go. Perfect.
All right, thank you. Go ahead, Mr. Lally.
And Trooper, do you recognize what's up on the screen now?
Yes.
And what are we looking at, and which area of the vehicle are we looking at?
The rear, John O'Keefe's car.
The driver's side, is that correct?
Yes.
And what, if any, relationship does this portion of the vehicle we're looking at here have in relation to the video that we just watched?
It was faced, well, kind of you see it
All right,
from.
what was the answer? I
It
didn't
was,
hear.
sorry, it was faced kind of the same way you see the back left
you
rear
left.
corner of the vehicle as you do in this picture here.
And Ms. Gilman, if I could have what's now been marked as Exhibit 559.
It's 291. Yeah,
Sir, is this the same driver's side rear of Mr. O'Keefe's vehicle?
Yes, it is.
I agree.
Now, as
Peggy.
far as your observations of these photographs, what, if any, damage did you observe to Mr. O'Keefe's vehicle in either the last exhibit or this exhibit itself?
There was no damage.
Now, as far as the impact,
All right, I'm going to get to Jackson because I'm going to fall asleep here if Jackson doesn't save us. All right, here we go. Let's watch Jackson start smoking this guy. And then we'll get to today's testimony. I can't wait to see all of that.
vehicle that you observed during the course of that contact between the two vehicles.
That's correct.
I have nothing further on it.
All right, Mr. Jackson?
Did you ever put the two cars together?
I did not.
No, you didn't, did you? You never tested whether or not the SUV would match up with the Traverse, did you?
What do you mean?
You just said, oh, look, one of them has matte finish, one of them has glossy finish, so it couldn't have happened, right?
No, I'm confused by the question. I'm talking about the tail light. We're talking about the tail light.
Hold on.
Are we talking about the tail light? Are we talking about the bumper?
Yeah, we were talking about the taillight.
So one person at a time, you both are talking over each other.
Jackson's
You started
hot.
talking about the bumpers.
Yes.
You said, well, one has matte finish and one has glossy finish, right?
Yes.
You said, well, you'd expect one of them to like slide off of each other, and they could have done this and they could have done that, right?
Not slide off each other.
You were suggesting that the two cars wouldn't match up such that the taillight could make contact
It gets
with
better
any
today.
part of the Traverse. That's what you were suggesting.
I'm saying it didn't match up because there's no damage to the Traverse.
You didn't test whether or not the lens, the right rear lens on the SUV could match up to any part of the Traverse, right? And make contact, physical contact with it, right?
When I see a picture of the Traverse,
Yes or no?
when I see the picture
No,
of the Traverse,
this is a voir dire. I need the information.
you
Mr.
asked me a
Jackson.
question.
Jackson's
Yeah,
so hot
it's
right
Yes or
now.
no question, Trooper.
I don't think so, but
Mr. Jackson, just for, there's no jury here.
I
This
realize
is,
that.
this is for purposes of what I have to rule on.
Hot.
The more information I have, the better off I am in being able to move on.
All right, let me take a breath.
So this is,
He's so mad. He's like, all right, I'm going to take a breath. He is so hot right now. He's just fuming. I love it.
and this is,
He's
this is you
pissed.
trying to keep the evidence out. So you want to give me the information.
Understood. Did you or did you not ever do a test where you backed the Lexus up against the Traverse?
we did not.
Did you or did you not ever do a test where you put the two cars together and measured them?
No.
Did you ever measure the taillight of the SUV, the black SUV, against any area on that Traverse?
No.
Did you ever do any force multiplier tests to determine the forces necessary to crack the SUV's convex taillight?
No.
Did you ever do any testing to determine whether or not a plastic taillight, under how much pressure a plastic
Rachel,
taillight
1985.
would need to be subjected before it would crack?
No.
Did you ever do any testing to determine whether or not if a plastic taillight came in contact with a metallic portion of another
Everybody's been saying
SUV,
that.
whether it would leave any mark?
Haven't done any tests, and I've seen crashes where headlights have struck other vehicles. That's
Okay.
kind of where the experience comes from.
Fair enough. But I'm guessing that those crashes are probably different speeds and higher speeds. Not this, right?
I've had multiple crashes at different speeds.
So have you ever had a
yes.
crash where you've investigated, the Massachusetts State Police has been brought in to investigate a crash where the car was going in reverse at about a half a mile an hour?
Half a mile an hour?
Whatever that was.
Are you saying the SUV Lexus is going half a mile per hour?
Well, you're the reconstructionist. Give me an estimate of how fast you think that SUV was going at the point of contact with the Traverse.
Maybe like 1-2 miles per hour?
Okay, fair enough. Have you ever been called in to a crash, to investigate a crash, where the cars have collided at 1 mile an hour?
I've had pedestrian crashes that have been at a very low speed.
Okay, that wasn't my question.
One thing I always love about Jackson, and I was seeing a lot of it today, was when he would ask a question and he's like, I don't know, you're the expert, you tell me. And then he was literally systematically walking Trooper Paul through and making him go through, like, how did you come up with the determination where John O'Keefe was? How did you come up with the determination of how he was hit and he landed in this specific spot. How did you come up with the determination of all the measurements on your map? I mean, he was just systematically breaking everything down and killing it. It was so good to watch.
My question.
Okay.
My question is, have you been called in to a crash involving
Hey,
two
Andy, how are you?
vehicles
Yeah.
that have made contact at about 1 mile an hour?
I have seen testing for vehicles at low speeds. So next time I've been called to a crash, I go to fatality crashes, but I have seen testing for vehicles at low speed impacts.
Okay.
And there were rumors today, and actually I posted up on my Facebook page this afternoon that some journalists were tweeting out from the courtroom that when Paul was actually going through how he reconstructed the scene, there were jurors that literally were like mouthing the words like "what" and like shaking their head. That is not good. That is not good for the Commonwealth.
How low speed?
Like just the bump.
So like this?
Yes.
Did you see any damage?
Yes. All right. Well, minimal damage.
Right. In what circumstance? Minimal damage, like, I don't know, like a cracked taillight.
No, like just a little bit of rub off on the paint.
Right? Or you might see nothing, right?
Yes.
You've certainly seen circumstances in which two cars come in contact and there's absolutely no physical damage to either car, nothing observable, right?
Have I gone to
Sure.
crashes? Have I seen no physical damage on a car?
Or just in common sense, just everyday life, where one car backs into another car at the Jiffy Lube, makes
I love
contact,
that.
and drives
Jiffy
away,
Lube.
and there's no damage.
Not normally. It's usually something with car and car impacts.
Like, what's the something?
A crack or a paint, something chip, scratches.
Right.
Yeah.
So if you put a piece of metal in that scenario, you put a piece of metal, steel, right,
Uh-huh.
against a piece of plastic, which one do you think is going to give way first?
You will still see some damage to both vehicles at a speed.
Which one would give way?
You literally have left me for like a month. I saw her one day in like a month. I've seen her I've seen you like 3 times in a month. And she's away for another week.
First?
Between metal, depends what speeds.
I'm
And
telling
what we're talking about, you're just saying plastic and metal. You're giving a pretty general, broad plastic and metal
Triple Paul,
analysis here.
Oh man.
you admit, you got to agree with me, that there are circumstances in which low speed, very, very low speed contact between two cars
Excuse me.
can certainly leave damage on one and not damage on the other, damage on both, or no damage on either one. Observe.
Yes, I just said in that situation where the scratch on the side of her car
Right.
had a scratch mark and his doesn't appear to have anything.
And you said under questioning by Mr. Lally that certain circumstances like this could lead to a lens material, right, plastic material cracking, right?
Say again, like on least.
Just a few minutes ago, Mr. Lally.
I'm trying to answer your question. Sorry. Yes.
Mr. Lally asked you a question a few minutes ago, and you indicated that something might show up on a bumper.
Oh, excuse me. Yes, the crime scene whisperer.
Something might, something might, like a taillight, might actually crack, correct? At a low speed impact.
A taillight might crack in a low speed impact.
Correct.
Yeah, it might crack.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
Now, Mr. Lally also said you saw this video where the cars come close to or make contact, right? That's how he worded the question. Remember that?
Come close. Yep.
Which one is it? Did it come close or did it make contact?
Wendy.
I said it might. I don't know if that scratch from the side is. It's something that's consistent with the height of the bumper. Like I said, I didn't measure them from side by side, but you can clearly see there's a scratch on the side, and that's something that looks like that would come back. So as I look at the bumper, and I see the bumper, and it has that little divot, and I look at her side of her car with that scratch mark, that kind of lines up a little bit of why that could be where that was from.
I thought you said there was no damage on that car. On the
Oh,
Traverse.
There is no damage, and that's why I went to why there's two different paint materials there. That why one could have showed up on her car because it's that flat, the glossy paint on there, and it could have scratched on it. While you have something that's a little more rougher texture with like a flat, flat color on there
So,
that wouldn't leave on there.
so you just
Does that sound like an expert to you? Does that sound like an expert to you? Seriously. This guy is kind of probably maybe and just rambling. Again, I feel bad for this poor guy because I'm going to tell you, when they get it out of him, when did you prepare for your testimony? He said, well, I did it at the DA's office, and they talked about it. He said, who was in the room? And he named all of the above. Proctor, Tully, Lally. That's what they did to him. They got him in there and cornered him and said, this is what you're going to say, and this is what you're going to do, and you're just going to do it. Because they needed this guy. 8 weeks we waited for this guy. And this is the guy that's going to explain how it all happened to Officer John O'Keefe. This was the guy. I'm telling you, they pushed the thumb on this guy. They had their boot on the back of his neck and was like, you're going to do it. And this is the way you're going to do it.
Describe the circumstance in which two cars come in contact. You don't see any observable damage on one.
Yeah, I mean,
you do on the
you're
other.
right.
That's what
I
Again, he did make the decision. I get it. I get it. And I said that in the very beginning of the live tonight. Look, you made the decision to do this, you know? So yeah, I agree. But it's, oh man, Jackson's just going to shred this guy. All right, here we go.
Yeah, I suggested that when you asked me that a second ago.
Yeah. With regard to the video, let's get back to the question that I asked, which was, in that video, did the SUV come close to, or did it come in contact
Yeah,
with
Michael,
the
you're right.
Traverse?
Again, I don't know because I'm saying based off the damage that is something consistent with that. So most likely it did come in contact with the bumper to bumper, but I don't know definitively because there is no damage to his car, but it's something that could explain why there's a scratch mark alongside the right rear side of his car, or her car.
Did you see the tire move, sir?
Yeah.
Did you see the wheel on the Traverse
incredible.
move in that video?
No, I couldn't see the wheel move.
I beg your pardon?
And look, Jackson gave him an opportunity to take it back. I mean, it's so obvious. Yeah, the tire move? No, I didn't see it move. I beg your pardon? Like, Jackson actually gave this guy a rope and said, hey, I'm going to pull you back. I'm going to help you here. And he says, no, I didn't see the tire move. Like, you got to be kidding me. Let's listen to that.
Or at least,
Just a few minutes ago, Mr. Lally,
I'm just going to answer your question. Sorry. Yes.
Mr. Lally asked you a question a few minutes ago, and you indicated that something might show up on a bumper.
I might have went back.
Something might, I'm sorry.
One could have showed up on her car because it's that flat, the glossy paint on there, and it could have scratched on it. While you have something that's a little more rougher texture with like a flat, flat color on there,
So
that wouldn't leave on there.
So you just described the circumstance in which two cars come in contact. You don't see any observable damage on one, and you do on the other. That's what right?
Yeah, I suggested that when you asked me that a second ago.
Yeah. With regard to the video, let's get back to the question that I asked, which was, in that video, did the SUV come close to, or did it come in contact with the Traverse?
Again, I don't know because I'm saying based off the damage that is something consistent with that. So most likely it did come in contact with the bumper to bumper, but I don't know definitively because there is no damage to his car, but it's something that could explain why there's a scratch mark alongside the right rear side of his car, or her car.
Did you see the tire move, sir? Did you see the wheel on the Traverse move in that video?
No, I couldn't see the wheel move.
I beg your pardon?
I didn't see it move. If I did, I didn't observe it moving. If it moved, it moved. I didn't observe it moving. I wasn't looking at the wheel.
When was the first time you saw that video?
Or TV.
I don't really know. It's been a little while.
Well, I don't know what a little while means.
Like a year ago, I think.
Okay. So you saw that video a year ago. Did you put anything about that video in your report, which is wherever it is, right here?
Jackson goes wherever it is.
I'm looking at your entire car's
With
report.
this guy.
Did you put anything in this car's report about watching that video?
No, because I watched the video like after the report was done, and I watched it first time on court TV. So
who on court TV during this trial?
like
Prior here.
no, when it was on TV at some point.
When did you and Mr. Lally have a discussion about you testifying about this video?
That was a couple weeks ago.
I'm sorry, I couldn't
A
understand.
couple of weeks ago?
What's a couple of weeks ago? Is it 10 days ago?
Days ago? 2 weeks ago? I mean, 2 weeks ago? Couple? Two?
Where did you two meet?
At the DA's office.
Oh,
Was that at your request or was that at Mr. Lally request?
It was a pre-conference hearing, or pre-trial hearing,
Right. Well, those
or
are
pre-trial conference, sorry.
done.
So, yes.
We're talking over each other. Try not to talk over each other.
I'm trying not either.
oh, I just picked on. I didn't hear that before. Jackson goes, "You done?" Oh, let's go back.
On court TV during this trial,
Like,
prior hearing.
no, when it was on TV at some point.
When did you and Mr. Lally have a discussion about you testifying about this video?
That was a couple weeks ago?
I'm sorry, I couldn't
A
understand.
couple of weeks ago?
What's a couple of weeks ago? Is it 10 days ago?
Days ago? 2 weeks ago? I mean, 2 weeks ago? Couple? Two?
Where did you two meet?
At the DA's office.
Was that at your request or was that at Mr. Lally's request?
It was a pre-conference hearing, or pre-trial hearing,
Right. Well, those
or
are
pre-trial conference, sorry.
done.
So, yes.
We're talking over each other. Try not to talk over each other.
I'm trying not either.
Let's both try harder.
Okay.
Who set up the meeting?
For my pre-trial,
Yes.
okay.
Paul.
Yeah. I mean,
Adam Lally.
Who was at the meeting?
Lally.
Right, sitting right here, Lieutenant Tolley.
Lieutenant Tully, you, Adam Lally, Laura
Why are they
McLaughlin.
there?
I'm guessing Ms. Gilman was not
Why
there.
are they all
She was
there?
not there, correct?
Did Mr. Lally show you this video at that meeting?
Yes,
Did he tell you that he intended to ask you some questions about this video at that meeting?
yes,
Did he ask you whether or not you could render an opinion as to whether or not impact you saw or lack thereof, whatever the case may be, was consistent or inconsistent with damage to the taillight?
yes,
Did you tell him that you would give him such opinion if called upon at trial?
yes.
Did anybody take any notes?
I don't know.
Were you taking notes?
Yes,
Where are those notes, Trooper Paul?
I think I just, well, no, it's not on this specifically, but just, make sure I had, my everything checks and balance. And
Checks and
for what I want to talk
balances.
about, what we're going to talk
Make,
about.
make sure you had
My
what?
checks and
She's like,
balances.
what?
Checks and balances.
Just make sure I'm we're on the same page of what we understand
Oh God.
what's going on in the trial.
You want to make sure that you're on the same page with Mr. Lally about what's going on in trial.
Yes,
Did Mr. Lally take notes?
I have no idea.
Checks
You were
and
watching him. I mean, was he writing something down?
I wasn't paying attention to his note taking.
Ms. McLaughlin was there. Was she taking notes?
I don't know.
You didn't see her either?
I don't know if there were people who were taking notes, writing stuff down, or what they're writing stuff down in relation to our conference.
Did you give him an opinion? We've asked whether or not you were asked to give an opinion, and you said, yes, 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 I was.
Yep.
Did you give an opinion at that meeting about whether or not you believe, in your opinion, the contact between the SUV and the Traverse, the Lexus and the Traverse, could result
Exactly.
in the damage to the taillight?
Yes,
What did you tell him in the meeting?
what we talked about already in the stand here.
Oh, I have a fan.
So what you relayed to
There's a fan in
him
the room.
is
Look,
exactly what you relayed
it's
to
a
Ms.
fan.
Yes,
And he asked you, he told you that he was going to ask, I'm going to ask you to look at the video, correct?
yes.
You're going to be asked a series of questions about that video, correct?
He told me the video, and he said, "Okay, this is the video. This is what they think the taillight was broken, and these are the pictures of his car that they take." So they asked my opinion on, do you think that's where a taillight would be broken?
And he said, and he told you, you need to make sure that you tell the jurors that couldn't have happened in this impact, right?
He didn't tell me I'd make sure jurors. I mean, that's my opinion on. It doesn't appear to happen in that video.
Did he tell you that it would be helpful to the prosecution if you said that it would be, that it was inconsistent with
Would have been good.
the taillight break?
Objection.
I'm going to allow it. Did he tell you it would be helpful to the case if you said that?
No,
But you knew it would be, right?
I'm just stating what I saw on my professional opinion on what it is.
Got
If it looked like it was consistent, I would say it's consistent. If it wasn't consistent, it's not consistent. I'm not gonna.
I'm sure that's what you would say.
Okay, so comments are not appropriate for the jury. They're also not very good for me, Mr.
Understood.
Jackson.
Understood, Your Honor. Did you formalize your new opinion? Because this is a new opinion, right? You've never been asked this opinion before.
Yes.
Did you formalize this new opinion in any kind of a report or memorialize it in any way?
No.
Did Mr. Lally ask you to create a report of some sort that you could then turn over to the defense so that we would know that you have a new opinion that you're going to testify about?
No.
I do. She's actually in the room.
Did you save those notes?
I actually do. Thank you for asking. Her name is KC. And yeah, she's in the room watching. She's actually one of my moderators. Thank you for asking. I have a fan. They want to know personal stuff about me. Yes, I do. Do you have a girl? Do you have a boy? A fan, a cheerleader. Yeah, I love cheerleaders.
You took about making sure that you were on the same
I'm
page.
going to judge by that comment. You're probably
That's,
15 years
yeah.
old.
Save mine.
Where are they?
They're my report.
They're in your report?
Yeah, as I was writing a report, I just kind of like highlight the stuff that I want to make sure I memorize and remember my report.
Okay. I'm talking about notes specifically about this video, seeing this video and rendering a new opinion about this video.
No, I didn't have notes specifically about this video. I didn't write anything down saying I must do this on this video.
Did you write anything down about the new opinion that you would come up with related to this video?
No, I did not.
I'm just moving on.
Yep.
All right. I don't need to hear any Lally. Let's go to today. Let's watch today. All right. Where are we at? This here. All right. Here we go. From today. Trooper Paul.
In this case, with anyone,
I think it starts at 22.
there's no issue there. Thank you very much. Could we please have Trooper Paul?
I actually want to hear the direct. When Lally gets up, we'll. Now, Trooper Paul,
So you actually report during the case down here, truth, all truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
I do.
Good morning, Trooper. All right, Mr. Lally, whenever you're ready.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
If you could just again, please state your name and spell your last name for sure.
Yes, it's Trooper Joe Paul. That's Paul.
And sir, if I could just take you back to a couple different portions of your testimony from Friday. With respect to the acceleration and braking tests that you conducted in the driveway area or outside of the Camden Police Department, was that before or after Ms. Hartnett from Crime Scene Services Section had processed you?
After.
And so as far as anything that was removed by her, that was done prior to you conducting any of your tests, is that correct?
Correct.
Now,
yeah, he was in court that day.
you investigated approximately 191 crashes over your time in the cars unit with the state police, correct?
Correct.
Now, I'm going to ask you just some general questions with regard to a number of those crashes have involved motor vehicles, collisions with other motor vehicles, correct?
Yes.
Now, in general terms, with respect to motor vehicle collision, what, if any, you talked a little bit last week about.
Oh, real quick, Scotland. Look at Scotland checking in. Says Ellen says, hello from Scotland, watching all your shows, but really comment. Great job, Brian. Really enjoy your content, especially the entrance of Melanie Little and Mark Betterow. Fantastic. Yeah, that was really great. It's a special moment. By the way, speaking of Scotland, Nicholas Aliverti just had another hearing the other day, and I'm going to start FOIAing them because he had 2 hearings, and I want to get those hearings so we can play him here. And that is a case that I want to continue to follow here on the channel because things are starting to kick back up. And that is the case of Arthur Knight, the guy that talks like this, and is claiming that he is not Nicholas Alivertian. So he actually just had a hearing the other day. I just got a FOIA request and see if we can get them, and we can go through those here on the channel because that is a fascinating case. All right, here we go.
For area of impact and point of impact, correct?
Correct.
Now, that's with regard to the roadway, is that correct?
Yes.
Well, Cam, don't know if you were here in the beginning, but we're already at close to $300. And if you look here, we've already had a lot of people that have helped out and contributed. So it's been very appreciative. So how about you do this? If you don't care about my stream, go watch the Celtics game, but stop trying to ruin it for everybody here in the chat, because we're having a good time and we're hanging out and going through this. We get it. You might not like me, whatever. You don't have to watch. Just go watch the Celtics game. It's all good. All right, let's play.
So with regard to the vehicles coming in contact with each other, what, if anything, regarding damage would you expect or anticipate based on your experience in general terms when vehicles come in contact or touch each other in a collision sequence?
I know. I'm all about that
No,
money.
I'm going to allow it. In general terms, what do you look?
God forbid if
So
I
we
made
look-
money
well,
on
it's two times
YouTube
of
for
damage onto a
working.
vehicle. One time,
God forbid I make money on YouTube. But the funny thing is, I'm kicking back money, 25% to Karen Reed, and we raised a lot of money for her here so far. So I'm not going to keep getting into this. It's goofy and it's juvenile. If you don't like it, you can leave. If not, I'll just have one of my moderators kick you out. It's no problem. I really don't fucking care. I don't really care. I don't care what you say. So you're a moron. But anyway, thank you, Shika. Thank you so much for the $20. We'll add that to the total.
contact damage and one's induced
God
damage.
forbid
So
I
when we look
make
at
money
vehicles,
on
we're looking for what's
YouTube.
called contact damage. And the induced damage is basically, start from beginning. So contact damage is the damage that is actually made direct contact with another vehicle. And induced damage is the damage that did not make direct contact. So for example, if you push in one piece of metal to make contact, the rest of the metal will make a rippling effect that would more cause induced damage.
And just again, in general terms, as far as vehicles coming in contact with each other in a collision sequence, what, if anything, would you expect or anticipate based on your experience sort of transfer from one vehicle to the other event?
It's possible when you transfer, you can have paint transfers that come from one vehicle to another. You got tire rub off that go from one vehicle to another. Scratches that would come from one vehicle to another.
And again, so just in general terms, when it comes to vehicles interacting with each other in a collision sequence, what, if any, role does the respective heights of those vehicles play in respect to contact damage or inducement?
Yeah, it depends on their heights and how they relate to each other. So that kind of shows if one vehicle's taller, one's smaller, it's going to show where the contact damage would be for one vehicle to another based on their height. So
based on respective heights, contact or induced damage could be in a different location from a bigger vehicle to a smaller vehicle, correct?
Correct.
Now,
thank you.
if I could turn you back to the text string analysis that you conducted with respect to the defendant's vehicle. Now, the two events that occurred on that 1269 miles deep, there were two events that occurred within that trigger, within that mileage. Is that correct?
Correct.
Based on your analysis with respect to the odometer readings and the mileage, where is it what is your belief as to where the vehicle was when those two events, being 3-point turn and the backup straight for approximately 60 some odd feet, where did those occur within the travel path of the defendant's vehicle?
So the first one with the 3-point turn, in this case, it appeared to be possibly on to a Cedar Crest, which, because we know based on testimonies that she missed the exit to Fairview and had to make a U-turn onto Cedar Crest. And that would make sense to why they would occur with close proximity to each other. They're within the same odometer mileage and on the same key cycle.
And so that occurred 24.2 miles per hour for 60 some odd feet. Where would that have occurred geographically from your review of the odometer reading?
It should occur probably on Fairview.
Now, so based on the totality of your analysis, your investigation in this case, what, if any, conclusions do you come to as to how this collision sequence occurred or how this crash occurred?
Yes. Should I go my report for that, or should you want me to just kind of go off it? Yes.
Sure, go ahead.
Okay.
Thank you.
I like I caught earlier when I watched this morning, I had the opportunity to watch a little bit going into work, and he pulls his report out and he literally starts reading from it, and Bev's like, you can't do that. When Jackson was asking questions, he's literally reading back his full report, and she's like, you can't do that.
We continue.
If you could, please.
Okay.
What, if any, conclusions did you come to through the course of your investigation?
So on Saturday, January 29th, 2022, at approximately 12:45.
So you can look at your report, but you can't
He's
read
not
your
reading
report.
it.
So
Reading my conclusions based on what they asked me to do. Okay.
yeah. So I can't hear you.
Sorry.
Okay. So just take your time, read your report, and then answer Mr. Lally's question. And if you need to look at your report, we'll see about that again.
All right.
Ask the question, Mr. Lally.
Based on the totality of your investigation, what, if any, conclusions did you come to with regard to how this collision occurred?
So this collision occurred on Saturday, January 29th, 2022, at approximately 12:45 hours. A 2021 Lexus LX570 was traveling southbound on
Linda, thank you.
Fairview Road, in area 34 Fairview Road.
Yeah.
It appears that.
So,
I'm trying to
so
hold it.
you know what? I don't, Mr. Lally, break this down. Ask
Yes, please.
simple questions so that the witness can answer your questions. We don't need a narrative.
This is so bad.
From your investigation, what, if any, conclusions did you come to as to where this collision occurred?
All right. So on the night of Saturday, January 2022, at approximately 12:45 hours, a 2021 Lexus LX570.
Can you slow down?
Yes.
So forget all that part,
Okay.
Trooper.
All
Just
right, guys.
answer the question.
Okay.
Where did it occur?
It occurred in the area 34 Fairview Road.
And who, if anyone, were the participants in
troubling
this
like
collision scene?
The operator appeared to be Karen Reed, and the pedestrian was John O'Keefe.
He did.
And where was the vehicle located in reference to the residents of 34 Fairview?
It was located along the southbound travel lane and to the left side of the house as you look at it from the front.
And as far as the vehicle, what, if any, directionality did it head in, and what, if any, interaction did it have with Mr. O'Keefe?
So the vehicle was traveling in reverse along the southbound travel lane, traveling north.
And how fast was the vehicle traveling in
You know, real quick, because I know this has been kind of the topic because of the troll or whatever. I'm going to put an end to it. We'll move on because I don't want to ruin the rhythm of the stream. Okay, listen. Of course, we make money on YouTube. Of course, we do. I don't tell people to push the button to send a super chat or a donation. I might mention it once throughout my stream, but that's it. But I'm going to tell this, and I'll throw this all back to you. Do you not think that anybody in the mainstream media that reports on these cases, and even these huge channels, Law and Crime Network, Court TV, you don't think they're making millions and millions of dollars off ad spots? You don't think that their commentators and their experts that come on the show are getting paid? Of course they are. Of course they are. You come here for entertainment. You come here for my analysis. You come here because you like my style. There's nothing wrong with what I do. I would say that I'm actually probably one of the nicer people because I kick back some money because I care about Karen Reed's well-being. I want Karen Reed to make sure at the end of the day has enough in her defense fund to keep pushing back against this Commonwealth. And we want to get her through this trial and get her out acquitted and not guilty. So it's just goofy things that we have to address every once in a while. It's honestly getting nauseating. I really don't even care anymore. Say what you say. I'm going to keep doing this. This is my work. This is my dream that I am fulfilling. I want to do this for the rest of my life. And the only way that you can do that is to make money to survive. I don't want to work in the corporate world anymore. I want to be doing this. I want to get better at it. I want to improve. I have a long way to go. I've only really been in this game a year. And I am very, very thankful for how far that we have come. And I still feel that this channel has many, many things to grow on. I have to improve in my craft. So anyway, I don't want to keep ruining the tone, the tone of the stream. Let's get through this and we'll just go from there. Anyway, Microdots, I think I just saw a super chat come in. You don't owe anyone an explanation. Thank you. I appreciate that. Maybe I'm just one of the nicer guys that have to explain it for the chat. Everybody says I'm too nice, and maybe it's time to not be so nice anymore. All right, let's keep playing through this and not ruin the rhythm anymore. Let's go.
Over what distance?
The vehicle traveled up to 24 miles per hour and approximately 62 feet.
And at the time that the vehicle was traveling approximately 24 miles per hour over approximately 62 feet, what, if anything, occurred then?
The right rear of the Lexus struck the pedestrian, John O'Keefe.
And post-collision, what, if anything, occurred with regard to Mr. O'Keefe?
Mr. O'Keefe was projected forward and to the left along the front yard of 34 Fairview Road.
And post-collision with Mr. O'Keefe, what, if anything, did the defendant's vehicle?
The Lexus continued traveling in reverse before they left the area.
Now, as far as the vehicle itself, from your inspection, what, if any, role did any mechanical aspects of the vehicle play in this collision?
There were no mechanical defects.
As far as your analysis of the roadway and other factors related to that, what, if any, role did they play in this collision sequence?
There were no roadway or environmental factors that contributed to this collision.
Now, sir, with respect to your investigation, what, if any, opinions did you draw based on your training and experience in regard to this collision and how it occurred?
May I look at my report real quick? Just to make sure.
Yes.
Thank you.
Susan, thank you for the 35
Right.
on PayPal. I'm going to play the kill me clip. Yeah.
So throughout my investigation, this appeared to be a single car collision involving a pedestrian. The vehicle was traveling at a higher acceleration when.
This guy.
Sorry.
That is the very moment right there. For me, this was the very moment. I want to speed this down to normal speed and go back, because for me, this was the moment that convinced me that this guy, I'm telling you, he's a patsy. They sat him down. They probably shook him up a little bit. They probably screamed at him and said, "You're going to do this. We need you to do this. And you are going to do it. And you are going to do it just like this." I'm telling you. Let's back up a little bit here. I want to hear this again. He is shaking.
Was the vehicle traveling and over what distance?
The vehicle traveled up to 24 miles per hour and approximately 62 feet.
And at the time that the vehicle was traveling approximately 24 miles per hour over approximately 62 feet, what, if anything, occurred then?
The right rear of the Lexus struck the pedestrian John O'Keefe.
And post-collision, what, if anything, occurred with regard to Mr. O'Keefe?
Mr. O'Keefe was projected forward and to the left along the front yard of 34 Fairview Road.
And post-collision with Mr. O'Keefe, what, if anything, did the defendant's vehicle?
The Lexus continued
away.
traveling in reverse before they left the area.
Now, as far as the vehicle itself, from your inspection, what, if any, role did any mechanical aspects of the vehicle play in this collision?
There were no mechanical defects.
As far as your analysis of the roadway and other factors related to that, what, if any, role did they play in this collision sequence?
There were no roadway or environmental factors that contributed to this collision.
Now, sir, with respect to your investigation, what, if any, opinions did you draw based on your training and experience in regard to this collision and how it occurred?
May I look at my report real quick? Just to make sure.
Yes.
Thank you.
Just to make sure I keep this clear, because if I don't keep it clear, they're going to freaking kill me too. I mean, I don't mean to laugh about it, but I'm telling you, that's the fear that I see in this guy's eyes. They're going to get me too. And this is the moment for me. He's like hot.
So throughout my investigation, this appeared to be a single car collision involving a pedestrian. The vehicle was traveling at a higher acceleration.
It's straight.
When
Yeah, get it straight. Because if I don't, they're going to get me.
sorry,
He doesn't want to do this.
the vehicle accelerated at a high rate.
Guy don't want to do this. Yeah, threatened by the bullies. Definitely threatened by the bullies. You're going to do it. If not, we're going to get you too.
Rate of speed before she struck the pedestrian John O'Keefe on the.
See how the arm came up? That's nerve. And he touched his face first and he put his arm up. That's nerves. He wants out of there. Wants out of there. Celtics right now are 34-22. Celtics up. That's nerves. He wants out. O-U-T, out. And he went.
The vehicle accelerated at a high rate of speed before she struck the pedestrian John O'Keefe on the roadway and subsequently left him at the scene.
I'll tell you, good thing they switched that courtroom, because you know why? Jurors can absolutely see him right now. And just think, there probably have been 6 or 7 jurors behind them that wouldn't be able to see his facial expressions and see the look on his face and take that deep breath right now. Remember the other Remember the other courtroom that they would have been in, the larger courtroom? And I was even Mark Betterow was saying the other night on Turtle Boys, fantastic live that they had together. He said, I can't even believe that no one has even complained about that before in that upper courtroom with all the cases have gone through there.
And with respect to the backup safety system that you observed in this vehicle and made use of in the course of your visibility analysis, what, if any, role do you, is it your opinion that that played in how this crash occurred?
Based on the visibility analysis. So even if the camera systems were covered in snow, even the systems were defective anyway, and even the mirrors were blocked, an attentive and a reasonable operator would not travel in reverse, especially at a high rate of speed. They would have cleaned the mirrors off. They would have made the cameras and systems, if they worked, they didn't work. They would have done all this prior to accelerating in reverse.
The objection sustained.
Move to strike.
I'm going to strike that.
Now, with respect to your observations during the course of the visibility analysis, the exemplar pedestrian that you placed in the right rear of the vehicle, was that exemplar pedestrian visible to you at the time that you conducted that visibility analysis?
Yes, it was.
Business don't work out there. They always got mumble rap. Thanks for the $2.
Thank you, sir. I have no further questions.
Okay.
Oh, man.
Cross-examination.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Oh my God. Did you see his face? Because he knows Jackson's coming for him. Did you see his face? And he's going to get a lickety-split bottle of water here and suck that down before Jackson gets a hold of him. Watch his face drop when she goes, okay, Mr. Jackson. Let's back up just a little bit here. His face drops.
With respect to your investigation, what, if any, opinions did you draw based on your training and experience in regard to this collision and how it occurred?
May I look at my report real quick? Just to make sure.
Yes.
Thank
I
you.
did. Sorry about that. Oh, man.
The speed. They would have cleaned the
$10
mirrors off.
cash
They
app.
would have
Thank
made the
you.
cameras and systems, if they worked, they didn't work. They would have done all this prior to accelerating in reverse.
The objection sustained.
Move to strike.
I'm going to
Here we
strike
go.
that.
Now, with respect to your observations during the course of the visibility analysis, the exemplar pedestrian that you placed in the right rear of the vehicle, was that exemplar pedestrian visible to you at the time that you conducted that visibility analysis?
Yes, it was.
Watch his face when Lally says, I don't have any further questions. And he looks over and he knows Jackson's getting up. He's like, oh, fuck. All right, real quick, I'm just going to pull this up. I don't know if you got the $10 cash app before that, Rogue, but we're going to add 20 here. Love a little 1989 says, I'm always praying for Karen. I need to address one thing as I'm a mom of a 12-year-old with a colostomy bag. I am disgusted that Proctor still has a job. Karen, we got you, and stay strong. Thank you for sharing that. That's very, very brave of you to share that type of information. And again, you know, we wish you and your family well. And, you know, the thing is that they can't fire Proctor right now. They just can't do it, because if he was fired instantly, this would sink the Commonwealth in this case. And if that got out and got brought into court, that Proctor, I mean, this is over for the Commonwealth. They don't want that. But I can tell you this, at the end of this case, the end of this trial, Proctor will be fired. And he will be gone, and he should be an embarrassment to everybody that he comes in contact with for the rest of his life. Because I said this before, not only has he talked like Karen Reed like this, but I guarantee you, other witnesses, other people that he has come in contact in a case, any potential suspects, he's talked like them as well. And, you know, I'm sure some of the things that he has said in other cases probably has had racist comments that he has brought in to other cases as well. It wouldn't put me past me, because this guy has no filter. He has no moral compass, and shit like this, I guarantee you, is he said worse. in the past, and he's probably said it in every case that he's been involved with. So thank you. I appreciate you. All right, let's keep going here. Here we go. Alan Jackson.
Thank you, sir. I have no further questions.
Okay,
Watch.
cross-examination.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Here we go. Get that water. Two-hander. He is a nervous Nelly.
So do you have any, do you hold any degrees in the scientific discipline of mathematics?
I do not.
Do you hold any degrees in the scientific discipline of physics?
I do not.
Hold any degrees in the scientific discipline of biomechanics?
No.
How about in engineering?
No.
How about in kinematics?
No.
The highest degree
No,
that you do
voice
hold,
crack.
sir?
I have an associate's degree.
In what?
Administration of justice.
You mentioned kinematics on Friday. Do you hold any certificates in the specific area of kinematics?
Yes, it's covered in the basic crash investigation classes.
Okay, so you took a class, in other words, correct?
At multiple classes.
Introduced the idea of what kinematics is, right?
Correct.
Testified about that on Friday.
Yes.
Define kinematics, George.
It deals with the aspect of motion.
It's a subfield of what broader field?
Kinematics.
Kinematics is a subfield of what broader discipline of science?
Oh God.
I'm not sure.
Oh
Physics, correct?
yeah. I mean,
Yes.
And it describes
and I just missed that, but I remember watching this at work, and I went physics. I mean, I don't even know physics, and I went physics.
how points and objects, systems of objects, how they move, and how the rate they move and the rate of their velocity, correct?
It deals with emotions.
What's that called? The rate of velocity. What's another word for that?
Acceleration.
The rate of velocity.
Right.
I mean, it deals with the motion. It deals with forward, and also deals with speed. It deals with travel and speed. If something's moving, it also has a speed to it.
Right. The word you're looking for is acceleration, correct?
Sure.
What role does acceleration play in the field of kinematics?
What role does acceleration play in kinematics?
Right.
It talks about, like you just said, it talks about the speed and talks about motion.
Is kinematics also known as the geometry of motion?
Oh man.
Is that correct?
I have not heard that.
Never heard that. What's the difference between constrained and unconstrained motion?
Constrained and unconstrained motion.
That's what I asked.
Constrained motion. I can't recollect at the moment.
Constrained motion is motion on a predetermined path, isn't it?
I'm sure Mike
Yes.
would know some of these
Unconstrained
terms.
motion is what?
When it doesn't have a predetermined path.
Free movement, right?
Correct.
You can remember that from your class?
Ooh.
For the most part, we don't go that in depth. Constrained and unconstrained.
Constrained, unconstrained, not restrained.
Sorry, unconstrained. Yes.
Kinematics uses algebraic formula to model these motions, right? The motions of these points, systems of points, correct?
Yes.
And it includes concepts like displacement and speed, velocity, distance, acceleration, which we've talked about, correct?
Correct.
And it looks at how these
That's nerves.
things, these values vary over a point in time or duration in time. Is that right? Do
Yes.
you actually understand
Oh
the
man.
physics behind the study of kinematics?
Yes.
The word you learned in
God.
class.
Yes, we had to go over the physics part of it.
On Friday, you said that this incident is a pedestrian strike from a vehicle. You reiterated that again this morning. Is that right?
Correct.
I want to be clear. That is your opinion based on your.
The best parts, I mean, y'all, the best part's coming up. He said, who gave you the information? He said, the crime scene. I'm like, what? So you're telling me literally like the grass talked to you? He's like trying to help me. He's like, just tell me who told you the information, the crime scene.
training and experience, correct?
Yes.
The crime
And
scene.
on Friday,
told me,
you said
yes.
you based that opinion on the fact that you noted a half-mile-an-hour decrease in speed and a steering input of less than 10 degrees at some point in that reverse motion, correct?
I said it was consistent. That data point in general was consistent with something that you would see within data of a pedestrian striker striking something else. I do go on my report saying I can't say that's definitively where a pedestrian was struck, but
I'm sorry, but there
it wasn't definitively. Sorry, in my report, I do say I can't say that is definitively where the pedestrian struck.
Cannot say
Definitively, yes.
Okay, so you're going to have to slow down and speak up, okay?
All right.
you said, I just want to make sure I'm hearing you correctly, and I apologize.
Okay.
You said you cannot say definitively that resulted in a
Corrects the
pedestrian
word.
strike.
That
Jackson's
data
brutal.
point within
Savage,
the text
bro.
stream data is what I'm talking about.
Okay,
That
Jackson's so savage right there, bro. He's like, definitively.
specific points, that time frame.
because there's a multitude of reasons why when someone is driving in reverse, they might slow down by a half a mile an hour, right?
It's when I say when it's consistent, it's because there's the other aspects of it is the fact that the accelerator is consistently strong.
Let him answer. Finish your answer.
So the accelerator is I think a constant rate, and then it just drops by half a mile, and the steering wheel all of a sudden abruptly goes to the right. That's what I'm talking about when I say it is consistent with a pedestrian strike. That's something that you would see. It's not going to be a huge change of speed during this collision.
You also note that at the time, it had begun to snow, correct?
Yes.
The snow on the lawn, right?
Oh, I know. Oh,
Correct.
You're right.
Snow on the cars,
Yes.
snow on the trees,
Yes.
snow on the roadway.
Yes.
Snow on the roadway could impact how tires move over the roadway, correct?
In a way.
And obviously, there are a multitude of reasons why somebody might input a 10-degree input on a steering wheel, correct?
Correct. That's why I said I couldn't definitely say it.
Right. So every time somebody slows down, going in reverse or forward, and introduces a 10-degree input on the steering wheel, doesn't mean they're looking to hit a pedestrian, correct?
Correct.
You testified that you determined the area of impact by basically following, if I heard your testimony correctly, basically following the debris field from the body from where you believed John O'Keefe's body's final resting place was,
You guys are the greatest.
almost linearly to the furthermost piece of debris that was found. Did I get that right?
Yes.
In other words, you established what in your mind, or what you were told was his final resting place, and what you were told.
Real quick, just to get to this. Sarah, thanks for the 10. We'll add that to the tool. She says, Brian, I love watching your lives, not only for trial coverage, but you are a genuine soul and can see your passion covering Karen's case. Keep up the great work, and thank you for helping Karen. Free Karen Reed. Just to kind of add to that, I'm an all or nothing person. Like when I get into something, it's all or nothing. I've pretty much been like that my whole life. And I knew that this year I wanted to take a leap in YouTube. I really wanted to jump in ahead. And essentially what I did was I took all of the money that I made off of YouTube last year, I banked it, and then I wanted to reinvest back in my channel. That's why I built the studio. And by the way, tomorrow night, they're turning on the air conditioning in the building. So tomorrow we will have air conditioning in the building. So I'm going to start getting some live guests in there. But anyway, and that's essentially what I did was I reinvested it. I actually have a working studio now that unfortunately I haven't been able to work, be in there the last couple of weeks because it's been hot and they've been doing a lot of duct work in the building and getting the AC ready. But I knew that I wanted to go for it and just at least give it a shot. And I said to myself, let's give it a year. Let's sign a lease. I'm going to move into the room, keep things consistent, do this in my off time from work and balancing my family and my relationship. And and just really going for it and see where I could be at the end of a year, and then gauge from there. Do I continue on, or do I stop? So I'm hoping at the end of the year, which would be next March when my lease rolls over, that we're in a better position on this channel, and I can start peeling back from my corporate job and maybe go just part-time and start doing this more full-time, because this is what I do, what I want to do. I love doing it. I know I need to get improved. We can always improve in our craft. But I love just being here with all of you and being able to kind of say what I want. That's really why I started a YouTube channel. I just wanted to come on here, and I didn't want rules, and I just wanted to be myself. And I didn't want to sit here with rules and have people tell me what to say and what to do anymore. That's why we do this. I'm tired of everybody telling me what to do. I'm tired of all the rules. And, I just thought, like, hey, if I can go on there and just help some people, educate some people, or just have some people listen to my opinion, it's what I wanted to do. So anyway, I appreciate it. Sometimes I wish I had more time to prep on the lives. On the days that I'm off and I can prep, in my opinion, I feel like I have better shows, because I like visual. And if you've ever watched a lot of my lives, I love doing all the visual presentations along with the video splits and stuff like that. So if I had more time to do that, I know that the level of channel could just be above. But, right now it's just been grinding it out to do these lives during the trial and prepare as much content as I can. I'm going to be honest with you. Oh, my voice cracked. Oh, I'll be seriously honest with you. And I said this to my girlfriend the other day, and I'll be transparent with all of you. I think that I'm knowing that this is getting to the end. I've had an incredible amount of anxiety that has come over me, and probably some depression as well too, because now it's like the anxiety is for Karen, because obviously I want, when that gets handed to that jury, I want that jury to come back and say 100% not guilty, 100% acquitted of all of these charges. But then it's like, the depression as far as like, now what's next? What do I do? What do I jump into? And I have some ideas, but I don't want to lose all of you. You know what I mean? Because I've gotten to know so many people in the chat, and I remember the names, and I remember the comments and the the questions that come up. And you do have a little bit of that depression, like, what's going to be next? What's the next thing that we can tackle together here on this channel and go through it? So it's kind of a weird emotion, because you go through this huge roller coaster. We're on a high, and then we start coming down, and we know that the end is coming. And yes, there will be post conversations after this. I realize that in whatever direction this goes in. But I've had a lot of that. I've had to deal with a lot of that. And, I don't know if other creators would be this transparent about it, but I'm real, and I'll just tell you how it is. I literally talk about this channel 24 hours a day. I think people get sick of me talking about it. That's how much I have invested in it. I mean, at this point, I care more about this channel than like my corporate job. I'll put that out there. 100%. I want this to work. I want it to be what it can be. So, it's crazy, because I've moved so fast, and I run to the courthouse and I try to get footage, and I've had the opportunity to sit in the court, and, then I come back and do these lives, and I'm doing this all in between, like working and like I said, balancing everything. So it's weird. My life is going to slow down here in a little bit. And it's kind of weird, because I'm not a person that slows down. I love to keep going and going and going. So we'll see what happens. You never know what can happen tomorrow. You never know what can happen. And, I'll just be blessed to wake up tomorrow and tackle the next thing. And that's what I want to keep doing. So anyway, I've talked too much and too long, but we'll keep cranking through this. All right, let's watch Jackson smoke this dude.
Told was the truth. And indicated that the furthermost piece of debris would basically be the area of impact, right?
It's within that line. I didn't say that is the area impact where the furthermost piece of evidence is.
All right.
It's just the linear, like you said earlier, it's that linear. We're going that path. That's the path that he traveled post impact with the vehicle.
And that is on which that fact that you stated is on which it's a terrible question. That's the basis for your opinion of where the area of impact was, correct?
Yes.
Thanks,
Let's take
Scott.
a
I
look
appreciate
at
that. I
exhibit
appreciate everybody's
Courts Commission
comments.
587. It's your diagram 3. If I may approach on just for.
Okay.
This guy is a nervous Nelly. Nervous Nelly. I have some things lined up of what I want to do. So we'll get there. Just takes time. And it's all what you want to put into it. It really is. How far do you want to go? Thanks, Scott. Appreciate it.
May I approach?
Yes.
We're gonna get Scott in someday. Oh, thank you. Don't make me tear up.
Your Honor, we
Make me
publish
get emotional.
exhibit 587.
Yes.
Diagram 3.
Thank you. I think oh wow, we're getting super open tonight. That's okay. I think that I need to start believing this a little bit more. What Casey said on the screen, because I think I've struggled with a lot of that my whole life. And maybe that's what has compelled me to do something like this. If I can help someone or something. So, there's a lot of things that I struggle with. And I'm sure a lot of you struggle with a lot of things too. This isn't easy. There's a lot of people that criticize us. I've lost a lot of friends over my YouTube channel. I have people that actually fucking hate me right now that I've known for a long time. So you have to deal with a lot of that. And you have to deal with a lot of the comments and all that shit. And, I'm going to be honest with you. I think the person that said it straight to me one time in a private conversation, and we talked about trolls, and Turtle Boy just said, fuck them, ignore them. That's all you can do, and just keep pushing forward. And I'll never forget that, because of just the status that he's at. And I hope that I can reach that someday. He's someone that I look up to. I'm not afraid to admit that. He's a fucking amazing creator, and he's got a great team behind him. And their product is so polished and shaped. And, I pull from inspiration from that. And I said, fuck, man, if I can just get like that someday. I'm very appreciative of what he's done for me, what he's done to help my platform, and giving the opportunity to go over and do things on his platform. So, it's been a wild ride. It's been a wild ride. All right, let's get back to the testimony.
Okay. So you see diagram 3 on the board. You also have it in front of you, correct?
Yes.
It's easier for you to refer to what's in front of you because that's a little bit further away. Just let me know.
Okay.
The red arrows adjacent to the blue writing, where I'm highlighting right now, indicate basically the debris field that she explained to the jurors on Friday, correct?
Yes.
And then there's a point of an arrow.
God, I appreciate
that
that.
comes back to a wording that says pedestrian's final rest, basically right there. Correct?
This is brutal right here.
And the debris field ends right in the middle of that spotlight, correct?
Yes.
All right. So that's the area of impact that you indicated to Mr. Lally you believe occurred because of the debris field and the linear portion of that debris field going from the pedestrian's final rest all the way out to that final little red arrow that says red plastic B in parentheses, correct?
Thank you.
Yes.
Can we have exhibit 492 published material, please.
Okay.
That diagram is brutal. Oh, of course. Yeah, I know. He's great. He really is good. Yeah, I know. This is brutal.
While that's coming up, have you ever seen this?
No, I haven't.
Take a look just above the arrow. Your Honor, with court's permission, maybe highlight or magnify the area just above the arrow.
Thank you.
You see that
Yes, I do.
right underneath fire hydrant, correct?
Correct.
What does that look like to you?
Piece of plastic.
It's debris, correct?
Correct.
Can we go back with the court's permission to exhibit 87?
Okay.
Diagram 3. You see the fire hydrant?
Yes.
Why didn't you mark that off?
Fire hydrant's right there, correct?
Correct.
That's another, according to your scale,
This is so brutal.
probably a good 30 feet from the pedestrian's final rest, correct?
Yeah, that's about right.
That is the furthermost in this diagram, the furthermost piece of debris on the diagram, correct?
Correct.
So now your testimony changed.
Oh, this is brutal. Oh my God. $10. Haters gonna hate, but focus on us that love you. Stay above the grime. You're moving in the right direction. You're a good human, and many haters can appreciate that. Stay positive always. Thank you for the kind words. I appreciate that. Look at this. Celtics running away. Yes, 61-44. Are we at the half yet? We got 41 seconds before the half. Celtics are going to win their 18th banner tonight. I can't wait. That's so awesome. So awesome. All right, let's keep playing.
That this, in fact, is the area of impact.
No,
Why not?
because it's just a piece of debris. I'm talking about the path. You follow the path that debris filled. Debris can move and change.
The debris doesn't fly backward, does it?
I'm saying you pointed
Debris
to like
can
just the
move
fire
and
hydrant
change?
as the area impact where the debris, where that one piece of plastic was, saying that's the area impact is right next to the fire hydrant.
Are you asking me a question?
Yeah, that's what you said, right?
I'm asking you,
I'm making sure I'm understanding what you're saying so I can answer the right.
Ask the question again, Mr. Jackson.
in fact, you indicated on Friday that your analysis of the area of impact was predicated on, based on, the furthermost piece of debris from the pedestrian's body that you were aware of, which is right there. Red plastic B, correct?
I said I said you said earlier with the linear equation. I mean, it might have moved it over more, but it's
Excuse
the
me.
debris, the start of that debris, the one that is. I can't say that's definitely the point of area impact or the point of impact.
You can't, can't.
I cannot say that is the point of impact right there. You just kind of follow the linear path because they have to follow in a direct path that way.
Okay, so now your testimony is that's not the area of impact.
I never said that was the area impact. I said it's after that.
Trooper, we were all here on
Here's a
Friday.
good one
Okay.
tonight.
It's exactly what you said under questioning by Mr. Lally, wasn't it?
Objection.
Sustained.
Didn't you say on Friday that you determined the area of impact for Mr. O'Keefe, the point of impact was red plastic B because that was the furthermost piece of debris you were aware of from the final point of rest from Mr. O'Keefe's body. Isn't that what you said?
I don't believe that's my exact words.
Okay, I'm not asking if it was your exact words. I don't have a transcript of it. I'm asking you, is that what you tried to impart to the jurors?
What I said to the jury, I said after that. That's the start of that's the last point of evidence that I had.
Cal,
I
thank
said
you.
the area impact is probably along the roadway after that point. I mean, like before it, through after you walk towards him.
I'm sorry, I keep doing that because I think you're done. Are you done?
I am done now. So
Now you're aware that there's a piece of debris, looks like taillight material, right under the fire hydrant, correct?
That you didn't mark.
correct.
If the area of impact what you indicated on Friday was where this red plastic B is, you would be wrong, right? Your analysis would be flawed.
No, because that's not what I said. I said it's along the roadway and it's going to be after that point.
Okay, so is the area of impact now where the fire hydrant is?
Objection.
Ask it differently.
Are you now indicating, because now you realize that there's a piece of debris directly under the fire hydrant, are you now indicating that that's the area of impact where John?
They do watch.
Struck?
Objection.
Sustained.
Let's take a look at exhibit, with the court's permission, 279.
Okay.
I wonder if this guy felt the blood draining from his face. Just one of those moments, you know, like when you're in your pants and the blood just drains from your face.
Take a look at exhibit 279. I'm going to draw your attention to that piece
Uh-oh.
right there, of plastic. You see it?
Yes.
You describe it for me. Just physically,
They know,
what is
they
that look
watch.
Looks like clear plastic
my opportunity
with
to
a
go in
little
the
bit of red
courtroom.
and the black on the top part.
like? Okay. Maybe in a triangular shape. Is that fair?
Correct.
Okay. Now, if we could go back to, with the court's permission,
Aye, aye.
exhibit 492.
Okay.
Oh, there it
It's
is.
highlighted just above the ruler.
Guess what? There it is.
How would you describe that piece of material?
Excuse
It
me.
looks like the same piece.
Does that, based on that, does that appear to be part of the taillight material that was found at the scene?
Correct.
Now, based on that, are you now suggesting, if we could go with the court's permission, if we could go back to 587, I'll stop jumping around just a second. I think we
Okay.
just get back to
There it is.
587. Oh, sorry, the diagram. Thanks.
Uh-oh.
Okay. Now, seeing what you've just now seen in terms of that piece of plastic that appears to be from the taillight, does that appear to be under the fire hydrant, which is highlighted? Same piece.
Yes.
Based on that, does that change your opinion? Is that now, the fire hydrant now, the point of impact?
Uh-oh.
No.
Where is the point of impact now?
It's along the roadway. I don't know the exact point of impact.
So you don't know the area of impact?
I said the area of impact is along the roadway after the debris.
Okay.
I mean, only thing it would change, only thing it would change is maybe it was a little further away.
Maybe.
But besides that, it's a linear field. I'm not talking about like one point. You kind of follow the middle of the debris field, and that should be the path.
Maybe.
Well, if the point of impact is along the roadway, where along the roadway, if you can show the jurors where along the roadway, in your expert opinion,
Oh,
was the
boy.
point of impact?
It should be within, if you follow from pedestrians, find a rest here, just kind of follow it back. That's what I'm talking about, linear field.
So now you've indicated an area, I can follow your laser pointer, an area along here, correct?
Yes, somewhere in there.
All right, if I have my spotlight, is that, if I leave it right there, is that about where the middle of the spotlight, about where you believe the area of impact is?
It's within, I guess you can say it's within that area. I don't know, definitely there's nothing on the roadway that has a definitive point that says this is the area impact right here. It's within the roadway based on the evidence at the scene.
Mr. Paul, sorry, Trooper Paul, I'm asking you, based on your expert opinion and your conclusions, based on your full analysis, can you point me to within an area of 5 feet or so on the roadway where you believe the area of impact is? Is my spotlight basically highlighting the area that you believe, in your opinion, is the area of impact?
You have that laser.
See, they want to nail them down because when they get their expert up there, they're going to debunk everything here. So that they want to nail them down to a specific spot so they can go back to references and say, well, Trooper Paul said this, and we're going to tell you why it doesn't match up.
Pointer.
I do.
Why don't we let him show you? It'd be easier for the jury to see.
I mean, he's just
So what I'm
roasting
trying to say is,
expert opinion.
so we follow the linear path back around this area.
Okay, can you,
And sorry, I'm trying to keep it straight as much as I can. Follow back to here. I can't say like if this definitely is, but it's possibly based on also vehicle damage to the back of the vehicle. So if you fall all the way back to here, that could be a possible area impact.
So when you say that area there, I want to be very clear for the record, that what you highlighted is an area basically
You're right, Donnie.
just to the left
Excuse
of
me.
an X that's on the roadway. On the bottom of diagram 3, toward the lower part of diagram 3,
It's,
correct?
you would use your circle almost to kind of be a good area around.
Sorry.
You can use a circle around here. This would be around the area.
Okay.
Okay.
So using your scale, that scale
Oh, boy.
is going from full left to full right, it's plus or minus 40 feet, right?
Switch, can't see it. So say again.
Why would you give Jackson almost 3 days to prepare for this guy? I mean, you knew you were going to get roasted, bro. Yes, the 30 feet. I remember this. Yeah. Grant's Pants. Thanks. I love that. A $2 super chat. Says margin of error plus minus 30 feet. Why would you give Jackson almost 3 days to prepare for this? It's unbelievable. You knew you were going to get smoked. And he's just picking everything apart. The key that he has, where all these points of interest are on this map, where evidence was, where evidence wasn't marked on the map. I mean, come on, bro.
Question.
That scale is 40 feet, going full left, full right, 40 feet.
It's 40 feet. It's a 10-foot scale.
Okay, sorry, 20 feet, my mistake.
I was okay.
I was material. 20 feet, okay. All right, so if you use that scale, can you estimate to the jurors? I'm just going to use this X as a starting point. You estimate to the jurors from this X that I've highlighted to the pedestrian's final rest. What's that number? Doesn't have to be exact. Give me an estimate.
So, I mean, it could be within 30 feet because I tell you this also on my scale, this 2 and 3 is 50 feet from each other.
It's how much?
50,
Okay. 50.
50.
So would you agree that from this X down here to pedestrian's final rest, as the crow flies, that's probably a good 35, 40 feet.
I mean, I could try to use the scale, but it's me as a scale.
If you wouldn't mind.
Oh, he wants me to.
You need a piece of paper?
Yes, please.
I can't believe this is actually playing out in court right now.
Just like this.
Well, it did play out in court.
Thank you. Yes, thank you.
Oh, excuse me.
You need a pen?
I got one. Thank you.
His hands are shaking. He tries to draw a straight line. He's like, sound the lines like the lines like this. So draw a straight line, sir. The lines like this on the paper. Oh, you can't see it. It's like that. That's the line he drew.
It's a little around. It's approximately 30 feet.
Approximately 30 feet.
Yes.
Can you place, with the court's permission, can you estimate 30 feet in here?
Can I ask?
Can you point to a place in the courtroom that looks like it's 30 feet from you?
Objection.
No.
Wonder why they didn't allow
Next
that.
question.
Does the court have a diagram of a diagram of distances?
In this courtroom? No.
You indicated just now, and I'm finished with this. Thank you. Thanks. You indicated just now in answer to Mr. Lowry's last couple of questions that in your expert opinion, when the SUV struck pedestrian John O'Keefe, he was, quote, projected forward and to the left to the front yard to his final place of rest.
Yes.
So your expert testimony is that John O'Keefe was hit with the SUV and flew 30 feet.
Projected mean like he don't say he flew all the way there. He was projected in that way. He got pushed forward in that direction.
Which he was
Yeah.
rendered incapacitated, landed there, that's sort of fly there, right?
Didn't
Didn't
crawl.
walk there.
All right.
I mean, would you definitely flying like literally off the ground the whole entire time? Or,
Well, you tell me, you're the expert.
I mean, he got,
Oh,
when we say projected, we mean he gets projected and they usually have a landing phase and they land and then they either roll or tumble to final rest.
Okay, how far do you think he landed? How far was it until he landed of that 30 feet?
I don't know. There's no indication of where his exact landing spot was.
Was there any evidence whatsoever that he landed and rolled?
rolled. No.
And there was no evidence that he landed or rolled. Or no, rolled.
According to you, the evidence that you have in front of you is that you get hit, fly 30 feet, land where he ended up in his final rest, right?
Objection.
Sustained. Ask it differently.
Based on your expert
30
opinion,
feet. Now it
you believe that
changed.
he was projected through the air to his final rest place.
That's not what I'm saying.
But you said there's no evidence that he rolled.
And there's no evidence that he flew through the air either.
Exactly.
Right?
He got it.
Exactly.
Objection.
He got it. He got it. It's so good. He got it. Because if John didn't fly through the air being hit by Karen Reed's SUV, what is the only other option how he would get there? Being brought out from 34 Fairview and dropped on that front lawn. It took him that long to get it. I'll go back because I think people just missed it. Some people missed it. Let's go back a little bit.
Last couple of questions. That in your expert opinion, when the SUV struck pedestrian John O'Keefe, he was, quote, projected forward and to the left, to the front yard to his
Now
final
just
place.
pay attention because this is the important part. So they're talking about trying to figure out in his expert opinion how John landed on that, how John got there on that lawn. And he's going to get it out of him.
Rest.
Yes.
So your expert testimony is that John O'Keefe was hit with the SUV and flew 30 feet.
Projected mean like I don't say he flew all the way there. He was projected in that way. He got pushed forward in that direction.
Push forward.
Which he was rendered incapacitated,
I'm going to speed up a little bit.
landed there, that's sort of fly there, right? Didn't walk there.
I mean, would you definitely flying like literally off the ground the whole entire time? Or,
Well, you tell me, you're the expert.
I mean, he got,
Love that.
when we say projected, we mean he gets projected and they usually have a landing phase and they land and then they either roll or tumble to final rest.
Okay, how far do you think he landed? How far was it until he landed of that 30 feet?
I don't know. There's no indication of where his exact landing spot was.
Was there any evidence whatsoever that he landed and rolled?
And there was no evidence that he landed or rolled. Or no, rolled.
According to you, the
All right,
evidence that you have in
coming.
front of you is that you get hit, fly 30 feet, land where he ended up in his final rest, right?
Objection.
Sustained. Ask it differently.
Based on your expert opinion, you believe that he was projected through the air to his final rest place.
That's not what I'm saying.
But you said there's no evidence that he rolled.
And there's no evidence that he flew through the air either.
Exactly. Right?
That's what Jackson wanted. And look at David Yanetti's eyebrows go up. Because if he didn't roll, and he didn't fly through the air, how did John O'Keefe get there? Had to have been brought out, or dragged out, or dumped out from people inside 34 Fairview. That's just masterful. You got it out of him.
Exactly.
Objection.
Sustained.
And that's why Jackson got happy and he said it. Exactly.
You said on Friday that in your experience, people tend to lose objects that are not strapped to them. Is that right?
This
Yes.
is bad.
In
I
other
remember
words,
this too.
Get hit by something, car, truck, bus, whatever, train. And if you have something in your hand, boom, you lose it, you drop it. If it's not strapped to you, correct?
Correct.
How do you suppose that Mr. O'Keefe, in your opinion, held on to that glass cup that was found right next to him over the course of 30 feet being projected?
Objection.
I'll allow it. Do you have a theory on that?
I don't know. I mean, it just could have been with him the whole way. I don't know. I wasn't there, so I don't know how the glass stayed with his body and went with him to the final rest.
So it's just common sense. You have to believe that it was in his hand. He held on to it the entire time it was being projected. Correct?
It could have been in his hand. It could have been tucked next to his clothing. Did
you say tucked in?
I mean, like, could have been next to his body. So when he projected, the glass was with his body as it was also flying. So there's a number of reasons why the glass, because it also got projected with the body while he was holding it.
I thought you said on Friday, and you just agreed with me, that people drop things and they're hit.
Yes, but I think not everything it tends to fly off. I mean, some stuff flies off, some stuff will stay on.
I see.
It's not uncommon to find piece of clothing and stuff, that you find at the scene.
Piece of clothing?
Like clothing, like shoes, and stuff like that to come off the body during a pedestrian crash.
Well, that's not what I asked.
I know, I'm just saying, you asked me, you said what I'm just responding to what you said. And trying to make sure you understand what I'm saying.
No, I don't, but I'll ask another question. Shoes are strapped on by definition, right?
Yes, but it's very common for shoes to come off.
How about a cell phone?
Cell phone, yeah. Yeah, it depends. Depends on where it is.
It was under his body.
Okay.
How do you account for that? He held onto a cell phone with one hand and held onto a cup with the other.
Objection.
Sustained. Ask it differently.
If the cell phone was found under his torso,
smoked.
under his body,
He knows he is now.
what's your theory on how that cell phone ended up flying 30 feet with him?
It just did.
Just did. And somehow, as he landed, tucked that cell phone underneath his body so he landed on top of it.
It just did. That's the evidence at the scene. I didn't put the evidence there. So
Well, you didn't.
Objection.
All right, so jurors, I've told you before, lawyers cannot make comments, so disregard it. Mr. Jackson,
wants
don't do it
out.
again.
I understand. So
You understand, but don't do it. Your answer's always, I understand. Don't do it.
Yes, Your Honor. Cell phone in one hand, cup in the other hand, flew through the air, right?
Objection.
Sustained.
You were informed of this incident on January 29th, 2022 at about 2:30 in the afternoon. Is that right?
yes,
At the time, you were working out of the CARS facility, which is located on West Grove Street in Middleborough. Is that right?
yes,
By the way, that's a facility that has multiple garages. Sally ports, I don't know if they're called Sally ports, but garage bays, correct?
the mechanic shop are there.
The mechanic shop
Yes,
is, if you're going to review, for instance, for purposes of reconstruction, if you're going to review a vehicle, is the vehicle placed in those mechanics bays?
no, not there. That's for state police vehicles.
Okay, so where are the mechanics bays? Sorry, reverse that. Where are the Sally ports where you do your analysis, your reconstruction, your review of the vehicle, inspections, things of that nature?
We don't have Sally ports for that.
You don't have anything dedicated to that?
No, the only time we would use a Sally port is the crime scene would have some Sally ports that they would do to document their crime scene stuff. And I've gone there to do my inspections, but most of our inspections are done either at the tow yard or some type of facility for that.
Ultimately, was this SUV ever taken to the Middleborough facility?
Yes, it was.
Where was it placed?
There's a fenced-in area inside it's a fenced-in area
Is it outside or inside?
outside.
Okay. Did it remain outside in that fenced-in area the whole time?
+5.
I don't know the exact time. It was there
PayPal.
for a
Thank you
while,
for
then it
PayPal.
got moved.
Where did it get moved
Missed the
to?
name.
I'm not sure exactly where they moved it immediately after I left Middleborough.
Are you familiar with the Foxborough location at MSD.
Yes.
That have sally ports or bays for inspection and evaluation.
It has garages in it, but we wouldn't use them. We don't normally use those garages for inspections.
Is it possible to use those garages for inspections?
It is possible.
Okay. It's happened before, correct?
I've not used the inspection in the garages.
But if
I'm going to ask you to keep your voice up and
Sorry,
speak
yes.
slowly.
Okay, I just want to add the $5 from PayPal that came in so we can add that to the total. And then Miss Mark, thank you so much for $20 super chat. Says, Brian, I got my husband to watch with me and he's really into it because of you. He's actually talking with you. Thanks. Well, thank you. I appreciate it. And we'll add that 20 to the total, the running total tonight too. Thank you. I appreciate that. Let's take in the Celtics really quick. Celtics are 75-50. They're smoking the Mavericks. Tonight's going to be the night the Celtics are going to win banner number 18. That's really sick. All right, let's
you know
go.
that could be used.
Sorry.
You know that those bays could be used for inspections or analysis or evaluation if needed, correct?
Yes.
Given the fact that the SUV that was being seized on January 29th was being seized as potential evidence, best practices would suggest that you want to get it in and out of the bad weather, the inclement weather, as quickly as possible, correct? You wouldn't want to subject it to continued forces from nature like rain, wind, snow, sleet, hail, right?
That would be beneficial, yes.
All right. You're aware that the Foxborough location and the Middleborough location with the mechanics bays are all closer to Dighton than Canton, right?
Both Foxborough and
Foxborough and Middleborough are both closer to Dighton than Canton. In other words, you have to pass by, depending on which way you go, pass by Middleborough, pass by Foxborough to get to Canton.
so from where?
From Dighton, sorry.
So from Dighton.
Where the vehicle was seized in
Yeah.
going toward Canton, you pass by either Middleborough or Foxborough to get to Canton, right?
I don't believe you'd pass by Middleborough to get to Canton, but you pass by Foxborough.
All right. The car was not taken to Foxborough, was it?
No.
As a matter of fact, the car was taken basically double the distance all the way to Canton to that Sally Port, correct?
Objection.
Do you know that? Does that double the distance?
I don't know the exact distance. I know it was in Canton.
And you know it's far to Canton,
From Dighton, yes.
right? And you're also aware that because you've been to the scene, assuming correct, at the 34th Fairview,
Yes. Yes, I have.
and you've been to Canton PD.
Yes, I have.
You know that those two locations are about 3-4 minutes apart.
Yeah, I can say that.
When you started let me ask this a little bit different way. Before you began any review on this case, any physical review on this case or analysis on the case,
Oh, here it comes.
you were told that there had been
Who told you?
a crash, correct?
Yes.
You testified at the state court grand jury in this matter. Is that right? That you've been told in advance this was a vehicle pedestrian crash and you were asked to analyze it, right?
Yes.
You wrote in
Here
your
it comes, the crime scene whisper.
report that it was a single vehicle collision involving a pedestrian and you were, quote, assigned to reconstruct that collision, correct?
Yes.
So when you began your analysis, Paul, you were told conclusively by the lead investigator, Michael Proctor, that the deceased was hit by a car and your job was to reconstruct it. Is that right?
Objection.
Okay, so there are lots of parts to that. Break it down.
Sure. Were you told by Michael Proctor to reconstruct this incident?
Objection.
So were you told that by Chief of Proctor?
I was not.
Okay, next question.
Sure. Who were you told, who were you given your instructions by?
Get to it, bro.
Instructions for what?
To reconstruct this incident.
I wasn't given instructions to reconstruct it. It's just I was assigned to it.
Right.
That was requested. My assistance was requested to reconstruct it.
That's my question. Who assigned you to it?
I talked to my sergeant at the time who gave me the phone call.
And you were told some basics about that reconstruction.
I told you that.
The event that you were asked to reconstruct, correct?
Yes.
The information that you were told came from the case officer. Is that right?
Who's the case officer?
The information that this was a pedestrian vehicle incident, as opposed to motor vehicle incident, pedestrian bicycle, motor vehicle motorcycle. You were told it was a motor vehicle pedestrian incident that you were asked to reconstruct, correct?
Yeah, I was told that, yes.
All right, and you had to be given some basic parameters of what that incident, how that incident occurred. Car was going in reverse, it's got a damaged taillight, things like that.
Some basic stuff, yeah.
What I'm asking is, I'm trying to get to is, who gave you that information?
Right.
Where'd it come from?
Crime scene.
That the car was traveling in reverse. Like, which part of the information you asked
Oh
me
my
at several
God.
different things just now?
Were you given information from multiple sources?
See, what he's trying to do now is keep the connections out of it. Proctor, Tully, he's trying to, in Bukaki, he doesn't want to give those names up. So he's trying to keep this away because they know they got Proctor pinned. So he's just going to keep playing this game right now. And then he's basically said the crime scene told him. Yeah, that's a good one, Paul.
Or did someone give you a summary of what you were being asked to do? At the very beginning,
Yep.
who gave you the summary?
Yeah, the crime scene.
Summary of the whole entire,
Oh my God.
of what?
Of the event that you were asked to reconstruct?
Playing a game.
I was passed down when I got to the garage.
Stall
that-
tactic.
There was nobody that sat there and gave me the summary, like, that I can remember. I was told that it was a pedestrian crash. I knew it was a Boston police officer involved, that this was the vehicle, and that it was traveling in reverse. That's all they had.
Okay,
Who told you that?
what I'm asking is, that's great. Thank
Yeah.
you for the summary. Who gave you that summary?
I don't know if it was definitely anybody from the get-go that was like I talked to.
From where?
I don't know if it's anybody that I could definitely say that was the person. There was multiple people going around when I got there. I think I talked to Trooper Zach Clark. He was doing the crime scene. I think he was Zach Clark. He was the crime scene photos at the time. I knew him from past crashes. He just said this is the vehicle, and I think he kind of gave me a little bit of a lowdown on what the vehicle was.
Okay,
So
my question is this. When you got that, did you call it a lowdown? He gave you the lowdown?
he gave me information. Yes.
Right. When you got the lowdown, you were told Boston police officers involved.
Right here.
The vehicle pedestrian incident, car was going in reverse.
So the rapid blinking, this thing with his mouth, that's nerves. That's stress. He's very stressed out. That's nerves. You notice how this blinking started, rapid blinking right away. Again, I'm not an expert. It's just things that I pick up on people. I was in hand-to-hand sales for well over 20 years as a salesperson. So you just see these things and you kind of pick up on it. All right. And I managed people for over 30 years. So when you question them, you ask them to get the truthful question out of them. I've seen a lot of this activity. It's very stressed. We'll watch the eye movements and lip twitching.
Ultimately led to the death of the pedestrian.
Jaw clenching.
Struck the pedestrian in reverse, correct?
Correct.
All right. And you were assigned specifically to try to reconstruct that incident.
Yes.
Have you ever heard of the phrase confirmation bias?
I know the phrase. Yes.
You know what it means?
I can't definitely say what it means.
Developing a conclusion and then trying to find evidence to fit that conclusion. Does that sound right?
You say so.
You noted in your direct examination that there were scratches on the passenger side rear bumper of the Lexus, correct?
Yes.
Pinching his cheeks.
How exactly were you able to scientifically determine that any of those scratches
Oh boy.
were from an incident on January 29th, 2022,
Could be
as
past
opposed
scratches.
to any other time?
Yep.
I didn't have anything else on the time. Is that those scratches happened prior to this collision?
I'm sorry.
I didn't have any information that those scratches were caused from a prior collision. And so when I looked at the evidence, I knew it was in that same area, the right rear tail light. So when I looked at it, it didn't quite fit the pedestrian thing. So when you showed me the video, or I saw the video like a year ago on Court TV, I said that could be.
You asked the question, so next,
I
keep
did.
going. He's answering. Next
trying to-
question. Then
Yes,
go
I
ahead.
scientifically
Hold on.
thought the scratches were.
Hold on. Ask
Sorry.
your question, Mr. Jackson.
You know what normal wear and tear on a vehicle is, right?
Yes,
Bumpers get scratched myriad ways, correct?
correct.
Scratched in a grocery store parking lot,
Let's
right?
speed this up a little bit.
Yes,
Shopping cart can bounce off the back of the car and scratch the bumper, scratch the side of the car, quarter panel or something, right?
sure,
I mean, I don't want to go through it, but there's thousands and thousands and thousands of ways the car can get scratched, correct?
correct.
My question is, as you sit here, do you have any scientific evidence that those scratches occurred on January 29th at approximately 12:45 a.m.?
What do you mean by scientific evidence?
Well, do you have any evidence whatsoever that you can point to that those scratches occurred on that date and at that time, rather than any other time in the history of that vehicle?
Like I said earlier, the video seems to appear that's what it looks like that could have been from.
Well, you said on Friday, let's talk about those scratches for a second.
Yeah.
You testified Friday, you were pretty clear. You said that, if I can find it exactly.
I mean, this is pretty damaging testimony for the Commonwealth. I would put this probably right up there with Proctor. Proctor was the worst. This guy is probably the second. And then I would put Jen McCabe or Brian Higgins, in my opinion. But this guy is, or Brian Albert's pretty bad too. I would say definitely Proctor is top, then this guy is two. I would say Proctor 1, this guy 2. Definitely. It's pretty damaging.
Let me have just a moment, Your Honor.
Sure.
You said, quote, the dent and scratches for his hand could be, those are consistent with striking the Lexus. Remember saying that?
Oh my God.
Yes, on the tailgate.
Brutal.
Okay, so the dent and scratches we talked about on Friday, you said were from his hand.
Yes, hand
Why-
in the glass cup.
Why did he
Okay.
break his hand?
Then are those the same scratches you're talking about in terms of the bumper?
No.
So,
What are you talking about? The scratch on the side of the bumper that we've been talking about?
correct.
Okay,
That's what I'm
no.
talking about. Okay, is there any way to scientifically date a scratch?
Look at Lally.
No.
If you go out in the parking lot right now, even as an accident reconstructionist, if you walk out in the parking lot right now and look at a Toyota Camry sitting there, it's got a scratch on it. There's no analysis that you could engage in to date that scratch, could you?
Objection.
So you can ask it differently, Mr. Jackson.
Is there any way that you could, in general, look at a scratch and say, that scratch is from such and such date,
Objection.
I'll allow it.
nothing more?
I'll allow it.
You cannot say. You can look at evidence and shows that it may have been older than what the newer evidence would be, but there's no way to say that specific date and time and that a scratch would come from.
And it's possible that any or all of those scratches on the Lexus could have predated January 29th, correct?
No,
That's not possible.
the ones that are on from the taillight and the other parts of it
Scratches anywhere on the car.
depends on what you got to pick the other scratches. You got to show me other scratches on the car.
I'm saying it's possible, since you can't date the scratch, it's possible that any or all of those scratches could predate January 29th. Simple question, right? It's possible.
You're being pretty broad on your scratches
Oh my
here.
God.
I'm not being brought it. Let me ask it a different way. Let me ask it again. Is it possible that any or all of the scratches noted on that car predate January 29th?
Any and all of the scratches? See, that's him saying you're being pretty broad, and even all scratches on the car
Answer that question?
that it predate.
Objection.
I don't know every single scratch on that car. I could mean
Overruled. So can you answer that question?
Yeah.
no.
Testify that you
Walk
noted
out.
glass on the rear bumper of the SUV, correct?
Yes.
And you said,
Now this was very interesting. Let's play through this, and I have a theory. But I think there was some testimony that said that the glass... Was there testimony that said that the glass didn't match the drinking glass? Could have swear that I heard that somewhere. But I found this portion very, very interesting. Maybe someone can confirm. Did someone testify saying that the glass on the bumper... Okay. Okay, the glass on the bumper did not match. Yeah, I remember. Who was the one that testified and said the glass did not match? I'm going to go one step further. And maybe this is my theory. I don't know if they went to this length, but I'm going to throw this out here. All right, hang on. Let's play this.
something about that glass coming from the cup.
Correct.
You also said that you did not see anything on that SUV that could be the source of those glass pieces on the bumper, right?
Yes.
When you did your reconstruction
Okay.
and your analysis, were you informed that none of the glass pieces, not one of them, would be matched to the cup?
I don't know anything about I don't know that.
So if you knew that the glass pieces on the bumper do not match the cup, that change your opinion
Objection.
about that glass?
Can you answer that question?
I cannot.
You can't answer the question.
It's what was told to me as evidence
Got it. By whom?
by the crime scene.
And we go to, this is the instruction. This isn't the instruction, the bullying. If you are asked these questions, who told you this information, you are not to say any of our names, and you are to refer back to the crime scene whisperer. You can't make this shit up. It's probably some of the funniest testimony I've heard in the longest time. But we're going to go a little bit further here because I have a theory on the glass, and maybe Karen's team went to this extent, but I don't know. But again, it's just a small theory of mine. I got to hear this. The crime scene told him. Ready?
You informed that none of the glass pieces, not one of them, would be matched to the cup.
This is the greatest thing.
I don't know anything about I don't know that.
So if you knew that the glass pieces on the bumper do not match the cup, that change your opinion
Objection.
about that glass?
Can you answer that question?
I cannot.
Here it
You
comes.
can't answer the question.
It's what was told to me as evidence
Got it. By whom?
by the crime scene.
Who told you?
As crime scene that was there, it says this glass from the cup. When I did my initial inspection, that's what it was on from.
That's not what you just said. You said that's what was told to me.
Yeah, by crime. Like I said, by crime scene. While I was at my inspection,
Wait, what?
it was told to me by the crime scene when I was at my
my
inspection, at the initial inspection.
So what you meant by that's what was told to me is the crime scene talked to you.
Yes.
Crime scene say anything else?
I don't know what else you want me to say.
He just trolled him.
Did Trooper Proctor tell you that those pieces of glass on the bumper are somehow associated with the cup?
No.
Did it tell you anything else?
Just the crime scene told you.
Correct.
But if you knew that the crime scene was incorrect
The crime scene
And in
whisperer.
fact, those glass pieces don't match the cup. Does that change your opinion?
Objection.
Sustained.
It's coming.
Would it change your opinion in any way if you knew that the glass pieces do not match the cup?
Objection.
Okay, now here's my theory, and maybe I'm crazy here. I wonder if Karen's team tested the glass pieces to definitively make sure that they don't match. Because I felt that was a little bit of an Easter egg. What if I told you that they don't match? Is this a possibility? Could it be a possibility? Do you think that Karen's team actually tested the glass to make sure that it didn't match? Could be. They could bring that up during their presentation. They had to have to nail this down. I think people are gonna, I think people's heads are gonna spin when the defense has their case, and they're gonna just go ba-bing, 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 and just bunk everything just like they've been doing. But I'm telling you, they had to have. Let's see where we're at. 1950. Let's go back. Like, we'll go like right here.
On the bumper, somehow associated with the cup?
No,
Just the crime scene told you.
correct.
But if you knew that the crime scene was incorrect, and in fact, those glass pieces don't match the cup, would that change your opinion?
Objection.
Sustained.
Here it comes.
Would it change your opinion in any way if you knew that the glass pieces do not match the cup?
Objection.
I'll allow that. Can you answer that question?
No,
I'm sorry, no.
I don't. It's a glass from a cup. It's a glass. It's not, it doesn't belong to the vehicle.
Right.
It's glass.
But if I told you it didn't match that cup,
What?
That's there it is. I'm telling you. They have analyzed this glass to match it up. Miss Mark, thank you for the $5. My husband wants to know if they got the phone of the crimes. If they got the phone of the crime scene, you mean John's phone? Yeah, they have John's phone, if that's what you mean. Well, the crime, I don't know. Maybe you're talking about the crime scene. I'm telling you, I think they tested the glass.
your opinion.
Objection.
Does that change your opinion?
Are we talking, which cup are we never established which cup we're talking about.
How many cups have we been talking about, Trooper?
You said that cup. One from the scene? Okay.
That cup, I'm talking.
I just want to make sure that we're on the clear path here.
Cup.
I'm clear what we're talking about.
Absolutely. Let's
Okay.
be really sure.
All I said, it's
Found next to John O'Keefe's body in the snow at 12
Right.
at
The
34 Fairview on January 29, 2022. You got the cup in
Big go over
mind?
my head.
yes.
Okay. That's the cup. When I say cup, that's the
Right.
cup.
Okay.
Would it change your opinion if I told you that the glass pieces on the bumper
Don't match.
don't match that cup?
What's my opinion on it? All I said was glass from a cup. That's the only opinion I had. It's glass from a cup that was on a bumper.
Are you saying a cup?
A cup. A cup. It's not glass from the car. That was my opinion on it. I never said it matched to the scene.
You didn't.
I never said that. My thing, I said it's glass from a cup.
Okay.
All right. This is
It's
pretty
safe to
bad.
say you didn't do any testing to determine the forces necessary to shatter a taillight on a 2021 Lexus 570, right?
I did not do testing.
Your report indicates, we talked about this a little bit, I'm going to go back to something we talked about earlier this morning. Your report indicates that John O'Keefe came to his final resting place about 7 feet from the roadway, and that's what you based your diagram on, correct?
Yes.
Who told you that number?
I measured it from my diagram.
You should say that again.
I measured it from the diagram.
Okay.
Did this guy actually go out to the crime scene and do any measurements like normal crime scene detectives would? Would they not? I mean, I've seen that a billion times. Like when I've watched videos, they go out with a tape measure. Like if there's a hit accident, someone gets hit on a motorcycle, they're, measuring where the motorcycle has landed out to where the skid marks are. I mean, so you literally didn't go out there and do any type of measurements. You just looked at your diagram and said, well, this is how we came to these theories. It's pretty bad. Grant's Pants, $2 says 2 Brian's, 1 cup. Oh, 2 girls, 1 cup. I know all about it. Not something I ever want to watch again.
Okay, what I'm asking is, how did it get on the diagram? In other words, who told you
$2.
that his body was 7 feet from the roadway?
Yeah, markers. Exactly.
Well, I was told by Lieutenant, was it Gallagher, Paul Gallagher, Cat PT. He told me this is where the body was found. So I used my devices
go by that.
to mark that location.
Okay, but before you used your devices, he just pointed someplace on the
Right
ground
over
and
there.
said he was about here, correct?
Yeah, that's correct.
Did Lieutenant Gallagher tell you that Lieutenant Gallagher never saw John O'Keefe in place at the scene? Did you say that?
No.
Did Lieutenant Gallagher tell you that the first officer on the scene estimated his body at being approximately 15 to 20 feet from the roadway?
Wow.
No.
If he had told you that it changed your diagram?
Objection.
Overruled.
He told me this is where he was found. I marked that location. That's all that was.
Oh my God.
And you marked basically every other piece of item. Sorry, that's a terrible question. Every other item you marked based on a distance from where you were told John O'Keefe's body came to rest, correct?
Yes.
Yeah, and that was by Lieutenant Gallagher just pointing at the ground and saying it was about here.
Correct.
Was there a single member of the team that was out when you were being shown where the body came to rest? Was there a single member of that team who actually said they saw John O'Keefe's body in place?
Objection.
I'll allow it.
What do you mean team? Canton PD?
Oh my God.
Whoever was there, who was there with you when you started doing your measurements, et cetera?
I
for therapy?
said Lieutenant Gallagher, that too.
Just you and him?
And myself and I was training a trooper at the time. She was there.
You were training a trooper?
Oh
at
my
the time?
God.
Yes.
Okay, so it was my mistake. I assumed that there were several people out there, just you and Lieutenant Gallagher.
Yes, that's why I was confused by the team.
And again, Lieutenant Gallagher didn't tell you that he never saw John O'Keefe's body in place.
No, I don't think so.
Oh my God.
You did
This guy was
document in your
training
report
someone.
that the items that you noted on your diagram that you just looked at a few minutes ago, those were found by the CERT team, correct?
Yes.
And you indicated in your report that the members of the CERT team located a single Nike sneaker that's noted on your
Thanks for the
report.
2.
Is that right? On your
Correct.
diagram, right?
Yes.
You also indicated that, quote, in the same area, 2 red plastic pieces and 1 clear piece of plastic of a taillight was discovered.
Yes.
So your report is clear that in total, the items discovered by the CERT team on January 29th were a shoe, right?
Yes.
A partial glass cup broken, correct?
Well, it was that on there. I can't remember if that's on their diagram or if that's what I was told at the scene, but yes.
Sure.
Yes.
You knew that a cup was found.
Yes.
You were told a cup was found.
Yes.
And 3 pieces of plastic, 2 red, 1 clear.
Yes.
Not 5 pieces of plastic, correct?
Correct.
You then measured those items, is that right?
I didn't. What do you mean measure them? Like
Measured
at
them
this?
relative to John O'Keefe's final place of
This
rest.
is what I talked about.
10 feet from it, 12 feet from
I
it.
used
what
my
the road was.
diagram.
Yes, I used their report to place those items onto my diagram.
So,
Oh my God.
and I'm going to get to that question in just a second. I want to make sure that we
You
walk
never went
through
to
it
the
so
scene.
methodically. you then use some calculation, some tool or something to measure distances. Like there's where
5.
I assume John O'Keefe's body was. There's a final rest place. I'm going to use that as point A, and then I'm going to measure from there and go 7 feet to where the shoe was found, or the first red plastic piece was found, or whatever, right?
Yes.
Who told you where the pieces were found?
Crime scene.
They were in Lieutenant Tolley's report. He put measurements in his report.
Okay. And
Tully.
you noted that the shoe was 9 feet.
Yes.
Put that in your diagram.
Correct.
You noted that the glass cup was 1 foot from John O'Keefe's body, correct?
Correct.
1 foot is about that long, right?
Yes. It was. They basically said it was found next to him.
Right.
Yes.
A piece of red plastic 7 feet from John O'Keefe's body, correct?
Correct.
A clear plastic piece 10 feet from John O'Keefe's body, right?
Yes.
And a red plastic piece 12 feet from John O'Keefe's body, correct?
Correct.
What part of his body were you measuring from?
Like center of mass.
So he's 6'2".
Yes.
Did Lieutenant Gallagher tell you where his center mass was?
No, I measured from. He just said he was here, so I tried to put like where his head, where his feet, and try to measure the middle between those two.
So ultimately, because Lieutenant Gallagher was not at the scene when he was found, Lieutenant Gallagher had to sort of guess where the body was found, correct?
This is
Objection.
so bad.
Sustained.
You had no photographs of John O'Keefe in place, correct?
Correct.
There were no establishing shots, and there were no perspective shots, correct?
Correct.
There were no relative shots, meaning this is relative to that, I can measure that and figure out distances, correct?
What, like from the picture?
Yeah, so you know how that's done in science, right? You want to find out a relative position of something, so you take 2 or 3 or 4 shots.
Can you imagine like being the O'Keefes and like I know that they wouldn't admit it, and I'm not going to pick on them because they've been through enough, but I'm just saying, can you imagine just sitting there and listening to this? So there's either 2 ways that you're riding this out. You're going, this is our guy, or you're literally dying inside hearing what's going on here of how this guy put this whole crime scene together. I mean, someone sitting on that side of the courtroom has to be like, oh my fucking God, am I hearing what I'm really hearing? You know, because this is brutal. This is really brutal.
You know that something is never going to move, like, I don't know, a flagpole. You can measure from there.
Sure.
You get cross coordinates, right?
Sure.
Left and right, and where the
I would
2
quit my
coordinates match,
job if I
that's where
was
the
that
idea
guy.
is, right?
Correct.
None of that was done, right?
From the pictures,
None of that was done to do your measurements.
I used, like I said, I used the measurements from. I measured on my diagram in itself, and I measured from those points off my diagram.
Right, but the starting point was a
Whoa.
guess, wasn't it?
Blast from the
Objection.
past.
Sustained.
Did you have to sort of
What's up,
guess
man?
at where you thought John O'Keefe's body was?
That's one
I
of the
didn't
OGs.
guess where his body was.
Did you guess at his center of mass?
Objection.
Did you guess?
I did not guess.
Brutal.
Next question.
Blast from the past.
You stated in your report that you
We've grown.
Google mapped Miss Reed's path of travel. Well, let me ask you a different question. If I could withdraw that question with the court's permission.
Yes.
Your diagram has all those arrows pointing at specific locations.
Oh man.
Very,
Jack.
very specific, very thin arrows that point, correct?
Yes.
If you start off with an incorrect assumption about where John O'Keefe's body was, right? Hypothetically, if you were to start off with an incorrect assumption
Oh,
where John
boy.
O'Keefe's body was, every single item that you note on that diagram would then be off as well, wouldn't it?
Objection.
Is that true?
I mean, I guess hypothetically, depends on how off you want to be.
And the answer is yes, right?
Hypothetically.
You stated in your report that you Google mapped Miss Reed's path of travel on January 29th based on what you determined to be, quote, it's likely the two, and you said that it's, quote, it's likely that the two events, meaning the triggering events, occurred at the same time the Lexus was at 34 Fairview at the time of the collision, correct?
Yes.
The first triggering event was what? Was it a 3-point turn or a U-turn? I thought I heard you say both.
I guess it would be more, 3-point turns. Essentially, I guess it's a 3-point turn.
Okay.
Yes.
What did you say U-turn on Friday? I just sworn I heard that.
It could have been a U-turn. I mean, it's still turning around. So you had to make a
Go back to
U-turn when
the
it's a
U-turn theory.
3-point turn or not, but it's still.
Okay, but I mean, not to be picky, but sort of my job.
Okay.
A U-turn, traveling in one direction, turning, right? Turning the wheel, never changing gear, since it's reverse or anything, just turn, right? A 3-point turn requires moving forward, stopping,
Jackson's so good.
changing gears, moving backward, stopping, changing gears, using the steering input, and then moving off, correct?
Correct.
Well, those are two very different maneuvers, right? You'd agree.
It's, in a sense, I was trying to say she made a U-turn. Like you can say when they made a U-turn, it's a 3-point turn. They're still making a U-turn. And I didn't mean it as like she literally had to make a direct U-turn. She was turning around. And obviously the diagram or the trigger shows a 3-point turn.
Well, I mean, I guess you could have said reversing direction, right?
That could be a better way to say it. Yes.
You didn't say that. You said U-turn. So are you changing your testimony from Friday that it was a 3-point turn, or could it possibly have been a U-turn? Just,
It's a 3-point turn.
okay, because you have evidence of the starting, stopping, changing gears, reversing, stopping, changing gears, turning.
That's correct.
So when you said U-turn, that
He
was
changed his
inaccurate.
testimony again.
Objection, Your Honor.
The objection sustained.
Mm-hmm.
Let's get back to the path of travel when you began your analysis. How did you know what the Lexus's path of travel was that day?
Oh,
I got the directions from Trooper Proctor.
And what did Trooper Proctor tell you in terms of the path of travel specifically? Starting
so if you all don't see what's happening here, all this information got filtered in from Proctor, got filtered in from Gallagher, got filtered in from Tully. And they used this guy as a patsy and had him conjure up this fucking map because he took a couple of classes and he's going to be the crash reconstruction guy. And they pinned it all on this guy. And you know what? I don't feel bad for him because he's up there lying. Like it's kind of like a weird thing. It's like, yeah, kind of feel bad for him. It's just pouring on him because they used him, but he's the one that's sitting here and telling this crap in court. He's clearly not qualified. Jackson smokes him in 5 minutes. And you're seeing the ringleaders have all put this together for this guy. And again, it goes back to this is how it's going to be. This is what you're going to say. And this is how you're going to do it because we need you. And it took 8 weeks to get to this crap. And it got shredded in 5 minutes. They gave Jackson an extra 3 days to review this and shred this guy. I mean, and again, it goes back to Proctor is the worst testimony. This by far is the second worst for the Commonwealth. This shreds everything. And it's pretty brutal. And if I was Lally, I would probably walk out of that courtroom. All right, let's keep playing.
An ending point tell you the exact path Lexus traveled.
No, all I got was mostly just the addresses.
Okay, so if you've got 2 points on a map, and Trooper Proctor told you Lexus traveled from point A to point B, there are multiple ways to get from point A to point B. You'd agree with that, right?
Yes.
You picked one of those, right? The path of travel includes freeways, et cetera, right?
Yes.
But as you sit here, you don't know what her actual path of travel was. Because it could have been something different, right?
It could have been something. That's why I gave a range on my diagram.
Do you have any scientific evidence to establish what her actual path of travel is, or did you just guess at the path of travel?
I got the addresses from Trooper Proctor. I put them into the thing, and one of the possibilities of 36 miles. And that was after looking at all of them. At 36 miles is a possibility.
Right, understood. So that's what I'm trying to get to, Trooper Paul.
Hey,
Okay.
Johnny,
That's
what's
one
up?
possibility. There's 36 miles,
Mhm.
one route of travel, right?
Correct.
There are other possibilities, right?
Yes.
So between and among the possibility that you picked and the other possibilities, you just sort of have to guess. And there's no science to it. You just said, I'm going to pick that. You put it in my report, right?
No, that's not how that works.
Okay, why don't you tell me how that works?
Her odometer mileage on the car from the download and the time we had the vehicle shows 36 miles. So when I plugged those addresses into Google, it came up as 36 miles.
Now, keep in mind, this guy is a crash scene reconstructionist and never went to the scene of the crash to actually reconstruct anything, take any type of measurements, nothing. He did this all off just reports and plugged it all in and made this Patsy report.
As a possibility.
And you knew that there was another route of travel to the same location, correct?
What do you mean?
There were alternative routes of travel to the same 2 points, from and to the same points, correct?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, expert.
You could have tried to extract the location data from Ms. Reed's cell phone to determine the exact route of travel, correct?
I don't know. I don't have access to the cell phone extractions.
So that answers my next question. You did not even attempt to do that, did you?
No.
You did attempt to analyze the key cycles for the Lexus in order to determine placement of that vehicle. You just talked about that with Mr. Lauer, right?
Yes.
I want to be clear for the jurors because most people have probably never heard of key cycles. A key cycle does not have any location data associated with it whatsoever.
Oh, interesting.
Correct.
It just shows you when a vehicle is turned
Right.
on, the ignition is on and off. That's one cycle, correct?
No.
Tell me what I've got wrong.
Key cycle of the car doesn't have to be turned on.
Say that again.
It goes from off to run. The engine doesn't have to be started to off.
Understood.
That's removed.
So if it turns on, well, every single ignition is a key cycle. Every time the engine turns
I
on, that's
know, I hope
absolutely a key cycle. Once it's turned off again, right?
That gets recorded as in
We're at about 26,895 right now. It'd be cool to get to 27,000 by the morning. That would be great.
ignition cycle.
Right.
Hopefully
So-
30,000 soon.
A key cycle can be an ignition
A lot
cycle,
of work.
but it doesn't have to be an ignition cycle. It also can be just turning the sort of accessory on, right?
The key cycles turn the accessories on.
All right. But it does, my question was, where we started with this conversation is, it does not have any location data on it whatsoever.
Correct.
All right. So when you drive your car, you walk out, get in the car, turn the ignition on, start to drive, get to your location, turn it off. That's one key cycle, right?
One ignition cycle.
But and I'm going to use the word key cycles because you use the word key cycles in your report. That's what we're talking about.
I'm using that because that's how the trigger was read.
That's how what?
The triggers were read on the text stream. That's how they read them. Key cycles.
By key cycles.
Yes.
I'm going to use that phrase key cycle.
Okay.
We're talking about the same thing. It's an ignition on, ignition off cycle.
Doesn't have to be on.
So you mean the engine doesn't have to be turned on?
Correct.
Right. But if you're seeing triggering events, I'm trying to be tricky here. Seeing triggering events, your car's in motion, what does that tell you? The ignition's on or off?
The ignition is on.
Right. That's what I'm getting to. But it has no location data associated with whatsoever. It could be here, it could be in Wyoming. The car wouldn't know the difference. It's not going to report the difference to you,
Right.
correct?
On the key cycle,
Correct.
on just the key cycle. The key cycle does not give out locations.
Say that again?
The key cycle does not give a location.
Right. So your analysis is trying to go from a known key cycle that you can figure out and then work backward from there to try to figure out where the car was on a particular ignition cycle or key cycle, correct?
I didn't use the key cycle to put it back.
Say that again?
I did not use the key cycle to place the car back in its location. The key cycles were, all I got from the key cycles is that they occurred close within proximity to the time we've had the vehicle, not basically saying that this was the location based off the key cycle.
Well, let's look at Exhibit 591 with the court's permission.
Okay.
Did you testify on Friday that this is a copy of the exhibit that was put in 591, this is part of your report, correct?
Yes, it is.
And this is a chart that shows when, move to this arrow, that arrow indicates top and bottom where your testing occurred, correct?
Yes.
And we move over to the left, that is key cycle what?
1164.
Right. So you've testified, and we can turn the lights on. Your Honor, I don't mind if that stays up. We can turn the lights on. I don't think it hurts anything.
We don't
You
know,
stated in
Dart.
your report that there were, quote, 2 triggers recorded on odometer 12629 and key cycle 1162, correct?
Yes.
These events were prior to the testing triggers on odometer readings 12665/12666 and at key cycle 1164. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. So what we're saying, what you're saying in that report is the triggering events were at 1162, going in reverse in order. 1162 comes before 1164. They're numerical. Is that right?
Yes.
Every single key cycle just tags another number on top of it, right? There's no formula.
Correct.
After 1 comes 2, after 2 comes 3, 4, 5, 6, and then move on, right?
Yes.
So by the time you got the vehicle, there had been 1,164 key cycles on the history of that car, correct?
Correct.
All right. And you knew, and you put in your report, or you know, that the triggering events that you see under 1164, those are yours,
Yes.
right? I mean, that's your testing.
Yes.
And you were very clear that the triggers that you recorded, that you talked to Mr. Lally about, were 2 cycles before that,
Yes.
meaning ignition cycles at least, right?
Yes.
All right.
For that.
You report, let me finish your point. You said that the mileage difference between these 2 triggers and the triggers that occurred while testing was 36 miles. You just said that, right?
Yes.
And the key cycle difference was exactly 2 key cycles, right?
Yes.
1164, 1163, 1162. That's the triggering events, correct?
That's correct.
You also reiterated in your report in paragraph 23, 24, 26, and 29, and also in this exhibit in your CARS report, that the triggers occurred at key cycle 1162, right?
Yes.
You were assisted in your CARS report. I think you mentioned Trooper Zach Clark. Is that right?
Yes.
Trooper Proctor assisted to a certain degree, correct?
Yes.
Trooper Larini, Carol Larini, is that right?
Yes.
Also Sergeant Sean Good of Canton PD assisted as well, correct?
Yes, in a sense.
Did they all read the report before it was finalized?
No.
Did you have any supervisor read the report before it was finalized?
Yes.
And he agreed with the assessments in the report?
Yes.
So in summary, everybody that read the report and you who authored the report believed, and it's reflected in that report, that key cycle 1162 contained the 2 triggers that you're talking about, right?
Yes.
That's the 3-point turn, or I guess it's now a 3-point turn, right? Changing direction, and then
Yes.
the reverse at 24 miles per hour, correct?
Correct.
And you even went on and testified to that exact thing under oath in front of the state grand jury, correct?
Yes. Wait, hold on. I need the text streams?
On the key cycles.
Not in grand jury.
Okay. Testified to it on direct examination on Friday and again this morning.
Yes, correct.
If your testing occurred at key cycle 1164, that means you turn the engine on, the ignition on to start your testing, correct?
Correct.
And that triggering event that we see up there at 1164 initiated your testing, all right?
Yes.
So that 1164 is where that's where there's no more unknowns, in other words. Right? You know exactly where the car is, who's in the car, who turned the car on, and what the triggering events were and what they reflected. Because you did it, correct?
Correct.
It's you.
Yes.
So that would be the cornerstone, basically, of your entire analysis of key cycles.
Uh-oh.
Say again.
The cornerstone, in other words, the one known that is immovable, it's immutable, is 1164 began your testing. Is that right?
Objection.
Is that right? I'm going to allow the question.
Yeah, that's when the car was in state custody.
All right.
It's coming.
So starting at 1164 and counting backward, before you started your testing, you know that the SUV had to be started, the ignition had to be turned over, and it was driven to the Sally Port in Canton at 5:31 p.m. from a tow truck on January 29th, correct?
I didn't know that.
You did or did not?
Did not know that.
Okay. Assuming that the car had to be started and put on a tow truck, that would be key cycle what?
I don't know how. I can't speak to the fact that recorded a key cycle at that time.
I can't hear you.
I can't speak to the fact that we record a key cycle at that time.
Okay. If the car was turned on and driven onto a tow truck, would that be a key cycle?
I don't know because these keys record different ways, so I can't speak to how or why it did not record on there. All I can speak to is that those are the key cycles. The odometer mileage is more what I was going after on this whole thing.
Trooper Paul, you just said unequivocally, when a car is turned on and then turned off, there's a key cycle.
I said when the car without the ignition on, that's a key cycle.
Right.
That's correct.
That's what I mean. When it's turned on, when the engine turns on.
That's the definition of what it is. I can't speak to why it didn't go on, why it did not record.
Well, let's talk about the ignition cycles.
Okay.
Before 1164. Okay.
Okay.
Obviously, the car had to get to Canton PD because you saw it there, correct?
Correct.
Assume for purposes of my question, the car was turned on and there's a video of it turning on, driving up onto a flatbed tow truck.
Yes.
That would be ignition cycle. I'm going to use your word, key cycle, ignition cycle, 1163, correct?
Again, ignition cycle, key cycles are two different things.
Which word do you want me to use?
If you want to talk about key cycles, key cycles. If you want to talk about ignition cycles, it's ignition cycles when the vehicle gets turned on. A key cycle does not mean to be turned on.
But every single ignition cycle includes a key cycle. You can't have an ignition cycle without a key cycle, correct?
Well, if you want to talk about it, just use the key cycles or ignition cycles. I'm trying to make sure this gets out. I'm sorry. I'm trying to make sure that this gets put out the correct way.
Every ignition cycle includes a key cycle, correct?
In a sense.
By definition, it has to, right?
It doesn't have to. They record multiple different ways.
You can have an ignition cycle without a key cycle.
I don't know how it recorded, but it could happen.
I just saw
Explain
that.
that. How could that possibly happen?
Because a key cycle is when it turns on, not engine running, and then turns off.
Okay, so work with me here.
Ignition cycle is when it turns on, engine running for 2 seconds, and then comes off.
Okay, so
Or the 2 seconds, if it's not on long enough, it might not record one.
okay, let's ignore the 2 seconds.
Okay.
That's not what we're doing.
Okay.
All right. Let's assume that it's an old-fashioned type of key.
Okay.
Halfway on, the electricity is on. It's like, it used to be called ACC, accessories, right?
Yep.
That's a key cycle, correct?
For that intensive purpose, yes. This vehicle's not a key cycle. So not a
Then
thing.
you keep turning,
Okay.
and that turns the engine on, right?
It turns the engine on, correct.
An ignition cycle.
Yes. Well, then turns off.
So ignition cycle necessarily includes the precursor key cycle, correct? Even though every key cycle might not include an ignition cycle. Would you agree with that?
In that scenario, yes.
Fine. Okay, with that definition, I want to talk about ignition cycles because I don't want to get confused about accessories. What? Just assume the engine.
Okay.
turns on, right?
Okay.
If you started your testing at 1164, then if the engine was turned on, thereby indicating initiating a key cycle, driving the car onto a flatbed truck, and then hauling it over to Canton PD, that would be key cycle 1163 in that hypothetical, correct?
It could be.
Okay. Then going backward from there, if the SUV was, I'm sorry, let me add one event that I just forgot. It had to get off the tow truck in Canton and be driven into the South Pole. Did you ever see that video?
No.
Being driven in?
No.
If there was a video showing that the car was actually driven into the Sally Port, that would necessarily be a key cycle, correct?
Possibly.
Okay, so that would be key cycle 1163. My mistake, I was missing one, right?
Okay.
Before that,
By the way, the Celtics are about a minute away from winning their 18th banner. That's pretty freaking cool in Boston. So you got to tell me they didn't throw that fucking game in Dallas the other day to come home and win it at home. Of course they did. Of course they did. So sick. Banner number 18. We're about a minute and 15 seconds away. I'll keep an eye on it here. Unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to play it, though, because they'll kick me off the air.
if the car was turned on and driven onto the flatbed to get to Canton, that would be key cycle 1162 in order, correct? We're going back.
It's possible.
All right. Before that, if the car was started
Excuse me.
and the car was driven from One Meadows Avenue to Karen Reed's parents' home in Dighton, that would be another key cycle, 1161, correct?
They're possible.
Before that, if the SUV was started and driven by Miss Reed from the garage at John O'Keefe's house to Jennifer McCabe's house at 5:07 in the morning, that would be another key cycle, correct? 1160. Is that right?
It's possible.
And before that, if the SUV was started and driven by Miss Reed to the waterfall, from the waterfall to 34 Fairview at approximately 12:15 a.m., that would be another key cycle, 1159, right?
It's possible.
I want to be clear. The reason that these numbers skip
Here we go.
in your diagram, they don't go directly in order, right? Every single number is in order on this left-hand column because this is only a diagram of when triggering events occur, right?
Yes.
Something unusual about the operation of the vehicle, correct?
Yes.
And it's clear that
All right, hang on one second. The Boston Celtics have won banner number 18. Pretty cool. All right, let's get through the rest of this, and then we're going to wrap this one up. I'm tired.
from the data, there was no triggering event at key cycle 1159, was there?
No.
Now we need
So
to get a
assuming
win
the
for
driving
Karen.
events that I just told you,
Get a win for Karen.
right? Assuming for purposes of my question, that the driving events started at
Aaron knows it's
11:59,
coming.
driving over to 34 Fairview from the waterfall. Then driving at 5:07 in the morning over to Jenny Cave's house, 11:60. Then driving to Dayton, her parents' house, 11:61. Then the car being seized in Dayton by Trooper Proctor,
Here it comes.
11:62. Then the car being taken off the flatbed and driven into the Sallyport,
1163.
11:63.
Uh-oh.
Your testing starts at 11:64. That would mean that at 11:62, that key cycle would include the time in which Trooper Proctor had possession of that car.
Whoops.
Correct?
No.
Assuming my hypothetical.
Your hypothetical?
Yes.
If that's hypothetically how it works, then yes.
Then what?
If that's hypothetically how it works, then yes.
On June 9th, 2022, you were asked by a grand jury
Uh-oh.
whether you knew or had done any scientific testing to determine the distance a body would actually travel struck by a vehicle. Remember that?
Not that specifically. Not in that way.
Do you remember answering that you had not, I'm just paraphrasing, that you had not done you hadn't finished your report yet?
Why don't you show him? He said he didn't remember it that way.
He is nervous. Wow. Wow. Whoa. Wow. I've got to go back. Holy shnikes. He is nervous. Did you see that? His face twitched. He grabbed his neck. Whoa.
Struck by a vehicle. Remember that?
Wow.
Not that specifically. Not in that way.
Do you remember answering that you had not, I'm just paraphrasing, that you had not done you hadn't finished your report yet?
Why don't you show him? He said he didn't remember it that way.
Wow. Oh, he's very nervous. All right, let's double time this a little bit.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's just Jackson talks so fast, so.
Take a look at middle of the page. Your answer starts at about line 12, but the question above it is probably informative.
I want to see this.
You have that in mind?
Yep.
May I approach?
Yes.
You were asked, does that remind you that you were asked by a grand jury if you could calculate how far a body would move having been struck by a vehicle?
Yes.
And you indicated, quote, yeah, there's certain calculations we can do with that,
Uh-oh.
but figure out if the car backed up, hit somebody, and then they go a certain amount of distance, and it's based on miles per hour, the speed of the vehicle, the striking vehicle, and stuff. Remember saying that?
Yes.
What did you mean by stuff?
I don't know.
You said that the calculations would be based on miles per hour and stuff.
Oh boy.
Did you ever do any stuff to test that? Grand jury's question.
No, we cannot calculate anything from this collision.
Say that one more time.
We cannot calculate anything from this collision.
Who's we?
Me, the role me.
Well, John O'Keefe's weight, right?
What's that?
You know John O'Keefe's weight, 217 pounds, right?
Yes.
Did you know that?
I don't know his weight, no.
You know the weight of the vehicle?
Yes.
What's the weight of the vehicle, gross weight?
What's the gross weight?
Yeah.
I think it's approximately 7,300 pounds.
Were you able to calculate the mass of the vehicle?
I did not calculate the mass of the vehicle.
Well, you told the grand jury that you were planning on doing that kind of stuff to calculate how far a person would travel being struck at that speed with a car of that weight. You didn't do those calculations?
No, because the calculations would vastly underestimate the speed of the vehicle.
You testified, again, my report isn't done yet. I'm going to look into it. I'm looking into all that stuff, end quote, correct?
Yes.
There's that word again. It's been more than 2 years since that statement at the grand jury. Is your report finished?
Yes, it is.
Did you engage in any of those calculations?
I looked into it. This type of collision I would not be able to use the formulas for this type of collision.
Well, let's talk about those formulas. How would you calculate how far a body at rest would travel after being struck by an object in motion? How would you calculate that?
In pedestrian collisions, I use a Searle formula, Searle throw formula.
A what formula?
Searle.
What does that mean?
It's a type of formula that we use for a calculation of post-impact
So
or speeds for pedestrians.
that includes certain principles of physics to calculate that, right?
Uh-oh. And you're not qualified. in
What do you
physics.
mean?
I'm sorry?
What do you mean by certain forms of physics?
There would be physics calculations that would be required to figure out how far a body at rest would move having been struck by an object in motion.
Right.
That's a basic principle.
Yeah, I guess you could say though.
All right. Can you describe for the jurors exactly what calculations you would need to employ to determine how far a body at rest would travel having been struck by an object in motion?
So in this scenario, in this collision, it's more of a side swipe. So he did not ascertain,
Side swipe.
he did not get enough speed of the vehicle post impact with the vehicle to be able calculations. His center of mass was offset from the vehicle. So we would vastly underestimate his speed. So that's why I did not do a formula. If he was more in line with behind the vehicle, he would have been projected forward, and using that projection forward, he would have been able to get more closer to the actual speed of the vehicle during that post-impact travels.
Well, that presumes a couple of things, Trooper Paul. That presumes that he was quote unquote sideswiped, right?
Presumed?
Presumed by you. You didn't see how he was hit, did you?
Based on the evidence, it appeared to be a side swipe.
That's your opinion.
That's just reading the evidence.
You're saying that the principles of physics as we know them today in modern mathematics is thwarted by a sideswipe?
Objection.
Thank you, Kat.
Is that what you're saying?
The calculations that are out there, you can get a speed, it will just underestimate the speed.
You would have to know what the initial momentum of the object is that's in motion, correct?
Of what object?
The truck, Paul.
I would have to know that speed.
Yeah, you'd have to know what the initial momentum is, not speed, momentum. There's a difference,
Oh,
Okay.
boy.
right? Would you agree with that?
No.
You wouldn't have
This
to
is
calculate
really bad.
what the initial momentum is of the object in motion to determine the distance of the body at rest would move?
Well, in that sense, are we talking about trying to find the speed of the vehicle? That's usually what we're trying to do.
Right, okay, well, let's put the speed of the vehicle aside. Let's talk about initial momentum. What's the formula for calculating initial momentum?
Uh-oh.
There's different types of momentum formulas.
Well, there's actually one type of momentum formula. It's to calculate momentum.
Objection.
Sustained.
To calculate momentum, there is a single.
So sustained. Ask it differently.
Isn't it true, Trooper Paul, that there is a singular calculation for determining initial momentum? That is P equals M times V, where P is the momentum. You're solving for that. M is mass. You multiply that by velocity. Is that right? Pretty simple.
You wouldn't use that in a pedestrian collision.
Oh, because the pedestrian's somehow magically out of the realm of physics?
Objection.
Sustained.
Is the pedestrian out of the realm of physics and calculations?
No, it's the weight differential between the pedestrian and the vehicle.
So if the vehicle is too heavy and the body is too light, you can't calculate the initial momentum of the vehicle?
Yes,
Excuse me.
Got it. Where'd you learn that?
it's in my math class. Since we only use momentum for a vehicle to vehicle.
Math class?
The math,
Oh,
the,
no.
the crash reconstruction classes I have taken.
Got it. Would you need to apply the theory of conservation of momentum in calculating these data?
Do I need to calculate the conservation of momentum?
For calculation, conservation of momentum.
Yes.
You even know what that is? There's an equation for that as well, right?
Yes.
You know what that is?
Not off the top of my head, but yes.
God, this is bad.
Based on the basic principles of physics,
He's
is the
very
total
nervous.
momentum of the collision greater or less than the total momentum after the collision? Total momentum before the collision, is it greater or less than the total momentum after the collision? Basic question.
What type of collision?
Mr. Paul, they're exactly equal in all respects under the principles of physics, right? That's the theory of the conservation of momentum. Momentum doesn't change. It's
Yes.
transferred from one body to another.
Yes.
Right.
Correct?
Positive action
Correct.
equals
Why didn't you say that to the jurors?
Objection, Your Honor.
positive
Sustained.
reaction. Paula, thank you for the
Mr.
20.
Paul, if you
Thank
were
you.
qualified to quote, look into all this stuff, you would probably know these answers, wouldn't you?
Oh,
Objection.
man.
Sustained.
Are there any other calculations that you need to figure out the stuff that you were talking to about with the grand jury?
Objection.
Sustained.
How about calculating the final velocity of the objects after the collision? That be important?
What objects?
That would be John O'Keefe's body, sir.
The,
Object
I don't,
that you claimed was flying through the air 30 feet.
Okay,
Objection.
sustained.
How about calculating the displacement using kinematic equations? Would you be able to do that?
the displacement of the body.
In order to calculate how far the body would move based on the mass of the object striking the body, could you use displacement using kinematic equations?
Oh, man.
So like I said before, the side swipe, he would not have gotten 100% of the vehicle, 100% of the speed of the striking vehicle. It would have vastly underestimated this vehicle. You couldn't hit a person and side swipe them, spin them off to the side and have that and get a speed from those calculations.
So you're saying that the discipline of physics cannot figure out how far John O'Keefe's body would move, but you personally figured out that he would have flown now somewhat, or been projected somewhat 30 feet.
Objection.
All right?
Sustained.
Are you saying that the principles of physics are incapable of determining with the proper calculations how far John O'Keefe's body would have moved given the collision at issue?
Objection.
Is that what you're saying, Trooper?
No,
Okay, next question.
Well, you just said because it was a side swipe, all these calculations, these physics calculations are inapplicable, right?
I'm saying it would underestimate the speed and the distance.
The truth is, Trooper Paul, you have no idea what all these physics calculations mean, do you?
Objection.
Sustained.
You've not been trained in physics formally, have you?
Yes,
You have been,
it's incorporated into the classes.
right? You had a few classes that use the word physics, but you haven't been formally trained in physics, have
Objection.
Sustained.
you? You haven't been formally trained in kinematics, correct?
It's in the aspects of all our crash reconstruction classes.
You haven't been formally trained and hold no degrees in biomechanics, do you?
I do not have a degree in biomechanics.
In fact, basically what you did in this case is
Eyeballed
calculated
everything.
ignition cycles. And you got those wrong, right?
Objection.
Sustained. Come on, Mr. Jackson. Ask the appropriate part of the question, you'll get it.
It's
Let me ask
not
you
that
this.
bottle.
Based on your reconstruction, nearly 2-year investigation, exactly how was that taillight shattered?
Oh,
Explain it to us.
How does the taillight, what do you mean? It gets, so the taillight in this case was shattered when it was struck John O'Keefe's arm.
Exactly what part of his arm?
Based on what I saw for his injuries, was from the upper part of his arm down.
Was his arm out? And it just struck the arm like a hinge? Was it in front of him? You did the reconstruction?
It looked,
Here's exactly how his body was positioned when he was struck by that.
so it looks like his arm was more kind of like this. If I can try to
What?
get that.
You're
Wait a
indicating
minute.
out by his side, correct?
Yeah.
How the fuck would his arm get scratches here if that's the impact area? Because that's where John's arm was injured from the dog bites. This clown's now saying that his arm was out like this. And this is the part that struck the taillight? You've got to be fucking kidding me. You've got to be kidding me. The dog bites are here on John's arm. Now he's saying that John's arm was up like this, and that's how he got scratches on this side of his arm? What the hell? You've got to be kidding me. It can't wait, it gets better? Oh no. Oh wait, there's more. Oh my God. Oh, my head hurts. Oh God. How the hell? I've got to I know we're trying to get through this. We got about another 8 minutes. I got to go back just a little bit. Just a little bit. I got to hear that again. All right, here we go. We got the sip. This is perfect. The sip from the vodka bottle. All right, he's going to go into it. All right. No, I haven't seen this. I was at work today. This is my first time going through it, and I love doing this organically with all of you. All right, we got about another 8 minutes. Let's get through this, and then we're gonna wrap this one up because we're like 3 hours, and I'm tired. All right, and I got to work tomorrow. All right, here we go. Mr. Vodka took a sip from the vodka bottle. Here we go.
Let me ask you this. Based on your reconstruction,
All right, this is
to
great.
your investigation, exactly how was that taillight shattered?
Oh God.
Explain it to us.
How does the taillight, what do you mean? It gets, so the taillight in this case was shattered when it was struck John O'Keefe's arm.
Exactly what part of his arm?
Based on what I saw for his injuries, was from the upper part of his arm down.
Okay, we got
Was his
that.
arm out? And it just struck the arm like a hinge? Was it in front of him? You did the reconstruction?
It looked,
Here's exactly how his body was positioned when he was struck by that.
No.
so it looks like his arm was more kind of like this. If I can try to get that.
Yeah, just like this.
You're indicating out by his side, correct?
Yes.
All right. And the taillight would have struck his arm, right?
Yes.
Not his torso.
Yes.
Okay. So the full mass, the full weight of that truck hit him basically at the elbow. Is that right?
Rip his
No,
arm
no.
off.
But I said it's from the upper part of the arm
Right.
down.
The
Yeah.
elbow and the biceps.
I didn't see anything that shows an indication that this lower torso was struck, but
Okay. So his torso,
it's not saying it could not have been a
That
possibility,
would've ripped
but
his
I
arm
just didn't
off.
see anything.
so his torso was spared from being hit, but the arm took the brunt, the full force of the vehicle, correct?
Like arm and shoulder, yes.
Okay. And you said he then did a spin, like a sort of a pirouette.
He got spun around possibly the way it struck, it looked like it could have turned around counterclockwise.
Okay. So if he turns around counterclockwise, is he turning around in the air counterclockwise?
Yes, initially.
So he turns clockwise. Okay, I don't mean to stop this, but I just want to recognize Super Chat. $4.99. The taillight shattered because John's skeleton was made of adamantium. I think I got that right. Thank you. It's coming. All right. I don't even know what we're at for a total. 506 plus another 5 is going to put us at 511. All right, here we go. Let's get this going. All right, let's hear how it's going to all pan out here. Let's go back just slightly. All right, here we go.
The brunt, the full force of the vehicle, correct?
Like arm and shoulder, yes.
Okay.
Okay, on the
And
shore.
you said he then did a spin, like a sort of a pirouette?
He got spun around possibly the way he struck, it looked like it could have turned around counterclockwise.
Okay. So if he turns around counterclockwise, is he turning around in the air counterclockwise?
Yes, initially.
So he gets hit on the upper biceps, shoulder area, and down to the forearm
Oh God.
Yes,
by an unbroken taillight, right?
yes,
In other words, it's nice and smooth. Nothing, no shards of plastic or anything broken at the time that it made contact with his arm, right?
correct.
Okay. So how did his arm get all cut up?
Because when his arm struck the taillight then cracked. And as the car is driving past him, the taillight could scratch it.
Got it. So gets hit by the car, not his torso, just the arm. The taillight cracks.
What a torn
And as it
arm.
passes by, his arm stays with it long enough to get striations, those scratches that you see, those lacerations, those abrasions that you see, right?
In a sense, yes.
And at the same time, he does a pirouette and flies 30 feet. To his
Oh
final
my God,
point.
he turned around.
I don't know if he did a pirouette.
Well, I'm using the word pirouette. He spun around.
He started rotating counterclockwise. I don't know how far he ran counterclockwise, but he started rotating. According to that, would push him to rotate counterclockwise. Whether or not he went counterclockwise all the way to his back toward the ground, it seems like the most likely.
I literally think that Cat is smiling. Hang on. I gotta go. All right, we're at here. Let's go here. I gotta see the pirouette again. He literally he spun like Michael Jackson. Holy shit. All right, here we go. Here's the pirouette.
Enough to get striations.
I think
those
Cat is
scratches,
laughing.
Those lacerations. Those abrasions, right?
In a sense, yes.
And at the same time, he does a pirouette and flies 30 feet to his final point of rest.
I don't know if he did a pirouette.
Well, I'm using the word pirouette. He spun around.
He started rotating counterclockwise. I don't know how far he ran counterclockwise, but he started rotating. According to that, would push him to rotate counterclockwise. Whether or not he went counterclockwise all the way to his back toward the ground, it seems like the most likely possibility.
Did you account for the fact that his arm is on a hinge?
Is what? Say again?
Did you account for the fact in this scenario that you just told the jurors that his arm is on a hinge?
On a
Called his
hinge.
shoulder?
Okay.
Okay, so arm got hit. Didn't his arm just swing?
I said arm and shoulder area, so his arm could have been considered part of it.
Even if his shoulder got the upper,
Okay.
pointing to his upper biceps,
Mhm.
right? There's no injuries on his shoulder, not a single one, not even a bruise, right?
Like I said, it looked like to me it was from up here. I don't know how far I can up back here, but it was up here.
Well,
So
you're the one that talked about his injuries on his arm.
yes.
That's limited to about mid biceps, to about mid forearm, correct?
Okay.
Right?
Yes.
No injuries on the shoulder, no injuries on the torso, no injuries on the ribs, no injuries on the back, correct? Is that right?
Yes.
So your theory is he got hit on the arm, took the brunt of the force
He was
from the
spinning
taillight on the arm, stayed with the vehicle long enough for the taillight to explode, basically to shatter. Then these striations get on his arm,
Oh my God.
abrasions, does a pirouette, spin counterclockwise, and flies 30 feet in the air to his point of rest.
Yeah. It happened probably a little faster than that, though.
That's just
The
said he
jury
hit
must
on
be
the
like,
curb.
what the fuck?
I said that's one of the possibilities of when you look at the roadway as he gets spun around kind of clockwise. It's a possibility that the curb is there, any blunt force object on the ground, as the ground is pretty blunt.
That's right.
Well,
He
except
forgot the
in
hit.
your scenario that you just told us, he flew through the air onto the light dusting of snow, grass, and dirt.
I didn't say through the air.
Say that again?
I didn't say he got thrown through the air.
Okay, I
How
wasn't
do you
sure.
think?
It got projected.
Projected doesn't mean it's not incorporating just the throw. Project just means you get pushed forward. There's two parts of that. There's the air, then there's the ground. Like I said earlier, the tumbling, the rolling, whatever that part of the crash would happen. Projecting is just what we call what happens to a pedestrian post-impact with a crash.
Okay, so a couple questions. If his arm, elbow,
Lager bottle.
took the brunt of that entire impact, how do you account for the fact that he didn't suffer a broken bone?
Yeah.
I don't know.
How do you account for the fact that he didn't have a fracture?
Objection.
Sustained.
How do you account for the fact that he didn't even have a bruise?
How about a dislocated shoulder?
That's sustained.
Fair approach.
Yes.
All right, let's go through here. Oh, they took a break? No shit.
Sustained is to form.
What, if anything else, would that?
Oh, all right. I don't,
The road
let's hear Jackson come back.
is related to the triggers.
Okay, thank you.
As far as counsel's hypothetical with regard to the key, and so
On the vehicle, and
Anything on, I don't know, YouTube or any social, anything on, I don't
Uh-oh.
assume that it should.
very briefly, I just want to make sure I clear something up about the key cycles. You're not suggesting that every key cycle in the history of the car is on this page, correct?
That's correct.
I'm pulling up exhibit 591.
Okay.
That indicates key cycles that have triggering events, correct?
Yes.
Triggering events are something that the manufacturer includes, basically a list of items that will be a triggering event, correct?
Yes.
It's a list of items basically for mechanics to figure out if there's some unusual driving or unusual event with the vehicle, correct?
Yes.
But the key cycles go in order. They're numerical, 1 through whatever.
Correct.
Excuse me.
And the hypothetical that I gave you on cross-examination, with those driving incidents, each one of those would represent a key cycle, correct?
I
Thank
don't.
you, Brian.
So, in your hypothetical, I mean, assume that it should create a key cycle, but that you can't just say that key cycle is from that because I didn't just use key cycles. I used the odometer mileage on top of it. So you have to have key cycle and odometer.
Right. Interestingly, though, when you testified on direct examination, you said your analysis, this was on Friday, before the weekend. By the way, over the weekend, did you watch anything on, I don't know, YouTube or any social media?
No.
Nothing.
No.
No. Did you have any conversations with Mr. Lally about these key cycles and problems?
No.
Did you have any conversations with anybody about the issues with key cycles?
No.
Did you realize at some point between Friday and today that I was probably going to ask you some questions about key cycles?
Objection.
Did you realize that yourself?
Uh-oh.
I assumed you were going to ask me loads of information.
So on Friday, you didn't mention that your analysis was based on mileage, did you?
Objection.
Sustained.
On Friday, did you mention that your analysis was predicated on mileage?
Objection.
I'll see you at sidebar.
All right. I think they're going to basically lock this one up. All right. We're locked up. That's all I need to see. Oh, everybody's asking about the kill me. It was real. Someone dropped this on my page. This was from Emily D. Baker's stream. Let's see what we got.
The chats reflect equally on both sides. Okay. Oh.
Let's go back.
So the chats reflect equally on both sides. Okay. Oh.
Definitely that dude. It was definitely that dude. It's definitely was that dude. I want to see what Emily has to say.
So the chats reflect equally on both sides. Okay. Oh. Who said that?
It was Lally.
Was it this witness? Sir, blink twice. Did this witness say that?
He was like, wait a minute.
Or did Lally say that? I'm rewatching. Hold on. This
Not
witness
that
said
dude.
that.
That's dude.
Your Honor, with the court's permission, if I could
That dude.
request,
Look
certain
at
portions
Emily
of-
B. Baker. What the fuck? Good stuff. Good stuff. Good stuff. All right, we are late. This is a 3-hour and 15-minute show. Wow, grinding it out here. All right, total was coming. It was 511. We're gonna donate 120. It would be 127. Let's see. Am I right on that? 511 minus 25 be 127. I'll round it up to 130. We're gonna give Karen 130 tonight. 130. So I'll make the donation. You all know how I do it. You know how I vet it. I put the receipt up on my Facebook page, my YouTube community page, and then also you can go right to the defense website and you'll see LTL Media chat raiser 61724, and it'll have $130 there. All right, I am tired. You're all tired. Hey, the Celtics won. Banner number 18. Awesome stuff. Thank you for watching the stream tonight, and we'll be back. We'll be back this week, possibly back on Wednesday night. I will see you all soon. Get some rest. And tomorrow is what? Voir dire, and then testimony on Wednesday. All right, everybody. Thank you so much. Get some rest. Bye.
Take the changes, take the trap, run over media, time to walk down. They try to control us with their lies and their schemes, but I'm a rise above, fulfill my wildest dreams. The beats be banging, the rhymes be tight, trap rap flowing through the dark.
Hey, real quick. Hey, Kelly, how are you? Good to see you. Thanks for watching. And she said they forgot Alan was in the Air Force and he understands objects in motion. Yeah, it was good stuff. It was a good stream to go through. And again, I didn't get the opportunity to watch it, but I wanted to say hi to you. We'll talk soon. I hope everything is well. All right, I'm going to really get out of here for real now. Goodbye.